so confused. You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop unfriend me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn show what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up all the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's stuff.
I think I overrode our main screen. We're gonna have to redo it. It's okay. I can do it when we're chatting. You'll see. You'll see. I screwed it up. It's okay. What's new?
Hey, Hog Twins here. Check out our friend Matthew Spirit at his podcast at The Dumb Show and his website, don'tunfriendme.com. Yeah.
Good morning, Don't Unfriend Me Nation. What are we?
Did that let the cat out of the bag? I think that kind of told everybody what was going to happen tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have done him
a little
last.
bit of a preview. Steaming bowl of foreshadowing.
Steaming pile
And you're
of
like,
foreshadowing.
holy cannoli. Oh, mother of God.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. Leroy is back in the house. I'm so excited. And I
Strap in, boys and girls.
Just can't hide it. I know. I want to.
I'm
So
excited.
I'm going to have to do something. Let me see. No, it worked. Look, I got it. Oh, shit. Look at that. Just show business, folks. This good. Leroy is in that. Leroy,
That's the
how the
reveal
hell are
right
you,
there.
buddy? How have you been?
I have been tired. So for
Yeah.
everyone who wasn't really tracking, I had to take a little bit of a leave of absence for work. And it was
You
a
had to
lot.
get your vagina
but I'm
expanded?
happy to be back. I'm so excited. I'm gonna put a shoebox on my lap and give you a puppet show. No, I'm not.
It's going to be a short show, but it's good to see you, buddy. I am excited. Godzilla. Did you say Gojira? I don't have a Pee Wee Herman soundtrack thing. He's dead anyway. That's not good. Why is Leroy in sepia? Well, because his camera sucks. I don't know
We're
what.
gonna
I don't
fix
know
that.
what.
I don't know what happened.
Hold on. You don't have any color.
Yeah, I've never seen you.
You know.
That
You know what? Let's
Yeah.
just do.
Do you have a
Let's just do that.
backlight typically?
No, it's not that. It's the camera. The
Camera
camera.
setting.
The camera. No, it's the camera. He needs to unplug the camera and plug it back in. The USB has lost connectivity for a reason. So yeah, he's actually running in like 32 or 16-bit color because that's the only reason. So, or do you have a camera setting on your computer?
So I use what the hell is this program called?
Whatever that is. Go in there, and your settings have been
Split.
changed. Yeah, go in there and look at it. Your settings have been changed. It's a software thing. It's not like this is a 16 pin or anything. It's USB. You're not going to get packet loss from 4 feet. So it's a setting in your camera. Like look for something that says contrast ratio, saturation, dipshit setting, something like that.
It's going to be one of those, yeah. Oh, yeah, I did find it. Dipshit. It's right here.
There it is. See? But it's not working. It's not making it any better. So we're going to wait for you because we care. And I think you deserve to be in full color.
You want to know what's even better than Leroy coming back?
Leroy going away again?
No, we finally hit 700 subscribers on YouTube.
Wow.
Really?
I've been working so hard.
What is funny is YouTube just sent me an invitation to advertise, and they're like, you've qualified for every single check mark, 300 more subscribers, and they let me put up my clothing line on there now on YouTube. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? So they're being nice to me. YouTube seems to be doing well. Leroy, that's a little better.
Yeah. I'll mess with the rest of it later.
It looks good, dude. That looks much better. We're going to get him a new camera. So I've got 2 lenses sitting here that I'm not using anymore that are like $2,000 worth of lenses. And I'm like, let's go trade them in and get you a new camera. I mean, stupid not
Now
to.
Amy's out of focus.
Amy's running
I know. So
behind
I
because
think,
it's her internet.
yeah, I think I need to. Yeah, I think I need to log off and come right
Dude,
back on.
you
I think it's my
sound
internet.
so much freaking better.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
like that.
Good.
That mic just crushes.
Kristen, we got Christmas ornaments.
Go ahead and restart. Restart. We'll wait for you.
Yeah,
We'll
let
get
me
the show
just come
started.
back on really quick.
Yeah, do that.
Be right
Do
back.
that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
while we're waiting, I got a question for you.
Okay, I want to show people what you were talking about, though. You can't jump topics.
Okay.
Everybody was wondering. Here they are.
Oh, I love it.
The Dumb Nation Christmas ornaments. There's the front. Merry Christmas, Dumb Nation 2023, with a little stocking cap. And then the back is a little message from us to you. Here it is. From our house to yours, love with the American flag, the spears. So there you go. And, I realized just now because Leroy and Amy, I didn't put them on at all. And I realized what a dick I am. So I will fix that. And maybe. I know Isaac's already ordered one.
Nice.
So we're excited. We're waiting to get everybody on. We've got quite a few on already. Leroy, it's been doing great. Last Saturday, we had 500 and what on?
No shit.
55. Yeah, dude, everyone was on for the Israel show. The Israel show crushed. I mean, it was like, dude, I went back into old school. Like, it was just like flashback to strike packages on Tehran days without doing any unclass shit. But it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
All right,
I've been
so-
asked, I can't tell you how many times in the last, I've just been getting phone call after text, after email saying, hey, what's going on? What can you tell me?
Same shit, dude. All day long.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I told you my buddy from the State Department called.
Yeah.
I had 2 buddies from the FBI call. I had an old commander that I worked with in a special unit that did interesting things. And then, who are asking me stuff. And I'm like, why are you asking me? They're like, you live on this stuff now, dude. We watch your show and you talk about this stuff all the time. I'm like, you were the State Department. What? You tell me. But
they still have accounts.
well, there was I'll tell you another quick little story. Hi, Ames.
Sorry. Hi. Am I still good?
Don't be sorry.
Hello,
Let me,
Amy.
Am I out of focus now, though?
Hello.
No, you're not out of focus, but I'm gonna see if I can get you zoomed out a little bit. And there you go. Now we're all in there. There we look good. Everybody looks happy. Looks good. So I was at breakfast. I just do my breakfast diner. Like every alphabet agency is represented in my breakfast diner. Like we got State Department. I've got the director of operations for the Border Patrol, FBI, CIA, couple ex-team guys. So like the conversation sitting around that table. I got Mike, my neighbor, who was bodyguard, a cop and special forces. So we get a ton of just great conversation. So I'm not going to tell you the guy's name from the State Department, because I can't. But he started talking to me, and I'm just like, bro, you can't be talking to me. You're going to get in trouble. Like, you can't. If you think that they don't know what I do now after what I used to do, they don't. You can't be talking to me. So, pop smoke. I will tell you, this whole Israel thing is, it's obviously serious. We're going to talk about some of it tonight. Leroy and I are going to get into it. I want to get into a couple of other things. And most of this has to do with Israel, obviously, because that's really the topic of flavor right now. There's a couple other things we'll talk about. First, we're going to talk about Cory Booker has a change of heart. And I think what I'll do is I'll change the titles while you're here because it adds dramatic effect. He was, a lot of people don't know this, and I had a chance to get this video a little bit before most people because it was posted in a Substack, private Substack that I have, and I was able to gain access to it. And it's on his page now and everything else. But Cory Booker was over in Israel during the attacks. and he was there visiting. And I just, you guys know what I feel about Spartacus. I want to be clear. Out of all the Democrats, I don't dislike Cory Booker. I think he's kind of a blowhard, but he's got he used to have a good presentation. I remember when Livy and I saw him when he first started, we were like, wow, he's really impressive. And then we started listening longer and then got disenfranchised and said, this guy's just a dork. But, you know, I don't mind Cory Booker, but I do believe that he's on the wrong side of many things. But I do like the fact that this video kind of puts him in a human spotlight. And anytime we can show a politician being human, I think we should, considering that Hillary Clinton's a lizard.
Wow.
Well, that's what we've established, right? I mean,
he looks suspiciously like me. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's changed my filter.
You're a little less black.
I could be more.
And he's a little less white, and you're a lot more white. And honestly, you're in better shape because you look good. I was going to tell you how good you look. Now look, here's another feature. Watch this. You're getting excited. Watch this. Leroy is too far back, and he doesn't match the other three hosts. So we're going to.
Whoa! Talk about technology,
dude. I'm telling you, the things I can do here. One of these days, I'm going to be able to like hit a button and tickle your pickle from here. I mean, that's going to be outstanding. Here we go. Cory Booker, a human moment. 1 minute and 10 seconds, folks. 70 seconds overall. Cory Booker being human. Here he is.
I am in Israel.
Whoops. Here, I got to rewrite that. I got to realize I have to rewrite all of these. Cory. Gosh, we got to figure this out. Cory Booker. You know what I need to do? I need to clean everything, just start it over and make it simplistic. Cory Booker has a human moment, not a lizard. There we go. I love it. All right, here we go. Let's get this going here, because I think people will appreciate this today. Here it is.
I am in Israel. About this time yesterday, I was jogging behind me in the old city when I got a urgent call from my chief of staff telling me to get back to the hotel as quickly as I could, that Israel was under attack. There were thousands of rockets being launched. When I got back to the hotel, I joined others in the bomb shelter or the stairwells of the hotel. Frightened faces. There were children and elderly families, many Americans. There was a sense of fear and worry, and a knowledge to many of us that there were horrific things going on around the country at that time. Hundreds of people have been killed. Thousands of people have been wounded in a level of attacks at a scale that is staggering and really has not been seen in this country for over 50 years. We who believe in peace and freedom and human rights for Palestinians, for Israelis, for all humankind, must reject those who use terror as their weapon.
Yeah, it was better the first time I heard it. I'm not going to lie. I want to get your thoughts around the table. That's probably the most human I've ever heard Booker talk, where he doesn't sound like he's literally just reenacting Spartacus. I mean, it's true. It's such an apropos name for him, because hearken to thee, all thou noble of ears, please lend me thy hearts and minds of the common man. Herr Booker is speaking. It's just so summer stock, Shakespearean for me. And, you know, I just love to hear the guy drop the F-bomb once in a while. But that, I could recognize a little bit of fear in his voice. And that is a fairly human moment where he wasn't being political. And I think it deserves to be heard. So who wants to go first?
Leroy, why don't you take it?
Oh, God.
Wow. Just roll out the red carpet for me tonight, folks. I love it.
Leroy, please. We've been waiting almost 2 months for you to have a comment. So go right ahead.
You know, when you're
All right,
we're
your time's
talking
over.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So, Amy, we were wondering, what were you thinking about this? This is what happens. Listen, dude, you don't show up for 2 months, you're gonna get it in the chops. That was your.
Great. I get it.
That's the woman over there. That wasn't me. She started that stuff.
I did.
She checked the box, and I'm like, I'm just gonna finish it. Leroy, go ahead. I'll make sure I mute her up.
When we're talking about politicians, I love the humane speeches. I love the parts where they get into the camera and they express vulnerability. They are human. And let's face it, I mean, how many politicians would say that they're even there, right? I think it was a great moment for him. But we have to also be careful that there's not a moment where we see that humanity and then we buy into it full, like, just trusting him all of the way, because there's a difference between what someone says and then the policies for which they support. Now, in that moment, absolutely love Cory Booker. I've been a pretty staunch critic of him in the past, and it's because, he'll say one thing and then do something else. But I do love moments like that. I do love the moments where we can look at someone and say, look, he's being honest. I'm seeing the vulnerability. And in that moment, I feel I can trust him.
Yeah. For that fleeting moment, and then you realize he wants your guns and takes your freedom and criticizes religion. But Amy, your thoughts?
I mean, I agree to a point. I think it's telling who he truly supports, though, with the order of who he said first. And he said Palestine first and then Israel second. And I think that's just a telling.
Such a good catch, Amy.
Yeah.
It's a very good catch.
That's all.
It's well done. And those are the talking points, because the squad was the same one with all their letters. I mean, the video we did, which I wouldn't mind watching it, because I think a lot of people, I came late. I was working on this thing all day. It's, doing 10, 8, 15-minute videos is actually a hell of a lot more work than just doing the 25, 30, because I got to pack everything in and you got to keep it flowing. But I think the video does a good job pointing out that you've got Republicans who are, in my opinion, not using talking points. There's several different variables of support coming. One is from more of a humanitarian effort from the Republicans, a financial aspect, a militaristic support. But from the Democrats, it's all the same thing. Palestine is always before Israel. And let's not talk about terrorism until the end, but let's talk about human rights beforehand. Now, we'll get into this some more. Olivia, I want to get your thoughts, because I know you know Spartacus. And then I wish I could. I'll be honest with you. I saw one beautiful, first of all, okay, I'm just going to there's a reason why my wife looks Jewish, because I picked her that way. She looks Jewish. So she doesn't look Italian. She doesn't look Mexican. She look, oh my God. Yeah, you totally, yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Have you, turn to the side. Liv, turn to the side.
Why?
Side profile. She's got the schnazi. Yeah, she's got the nose. She got the
Sarah got a
beautiful
big
Jewish
nose.
nose. Yes, she does. She looks, dude, just trust me. When's the last time you've been to Israel?
Never.
Not you. I'm talking to Leroy. Never.
Never.
So trust me when I say this. She's got that look, the dark eyes, the dark hair, the olive complexion. She could definitely pass off as a Jew or Italian a hell of a lot quicker than Mexican.
That's
okay.
true.
So let's just be honest. But she's got that look, and I'm attracted to that look. And when I was in Israel, I'm not going to lie, the women are freaking like the most beautiful women on the planet. There's no, I've been everywhere, man. And I'm telling you, Egypt and Israel, that's it. And if you're a blonde fan, go to Sweden or some shit. But otherwise, those two places. And I have a special fondness in my heart for the female IDF units that serve, and they're incredible, and they're strong, and they're tough, and I just, there's an admiration that I have for them. And some of the most effective intelligence officers I've ever worked with were work with Mossad and IDF and Amman and other intelligence organizations, military intelligence, and then there's also a contracting intelligence agency and security force for Leroy knows all this. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is when I saw that girl taken hostage,
Yeah.
and then her body and what they did to her, I completely lost my shit. And like, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to preface that this isn't a threat, but I haven't wanted to kill people so much in my life since 9/11. Because when 9/11 happened, I think everyone who served in the military said, I'm ready to punch the clock, ready to go to work, and I'm ready to put some rounds down range and take out some people. And when I saw that, I don't care. I don't care what Israel has done. I don't care what Palestine has done. What happened that day is inexcusable and should never have taken place, ever.
Yeah.
In any society. And it was very reminiscent of Al-Qaeda and ISIS and Red Brigade and a few other groups. And it definitely brought back a lot of animosity and anger in me. So I apologize I went off on a tangent. I think Cory Booker saw it firsthand, and I really hope that maybe it doesn't change him as a politician, but ultimately it will have him be a voice to the squad and to the other Democrat socialists of America, those shitheads, to have a conversation with them and say, listen, Tlaib, Omar, AOC, Bowman, I know you guys support Palestine, but you guys are fucked up. I almost died. And the shit that I saw was completely unacceptable. Liv, your thoughts on Booker?
I was going to say that I thought he sounded a little flat and not very, disingenuous. He just...
Wow, okay.
He was very politician-y, as
Really?
opposed to just being a normal human. Like, holy cow, it was, I don't know. I just... he sounded somewhat normal, but I still looked at him as Spartacus and the politician and the trying to get ahead. I didn't.
That was
look
awful.
At it.
That was awful Jewish of you. So that
Wow.
qualifies.
Even though I have got no Jewish blood in me, but okay.
Yes, you have.
I don't.
Oh, Jewish blood. Okay.
Jewish blood.
I thought. Well, you've had German and Greek and a little bit of Jewish. I think that a lot of people are reacting in a way to politicians as stop using them as spiritual guidance. I think they're not using them as ideologues anymore. And that's why it's such a trip with Trump, is that Trump kind of has that where people still admire and look up to him. And I think other politicians try to have those moments where they're powerful and impactful, and they wind up just falling flat. Who wants to chime in on that?
Well, we've been saying that for years, right? Ever since I've come on the show, that was one of the first lead outs that I had, was that, look, you don't necessarily put all of your trust or faith into one person, into an idol. Because a person will always let you down. That's the problem with politicians and worshiping them the way that a lot of Americans do. What you should follow are the ideals behind them. And if those ideals are fighting for your rights, fighting for liberty, fighting to make sure that that your rights are being preserved and that nothing's being taken away from you, like what governments tend to do, then that's a good thing. But to follow somebody blindly, that's problematic.
Amy, go ahead.
She's never sounded better.
Well, she's sounding the silent river.
Oh,
There
good.
it
I
is.
wish I could hear the difference.
Well, we couldn't hear you, but now we can. Oh,
Yeah.
and it's not the
Well,
mic.
I took off the cloud lifter.
That's should be fine, but this could be your amp is having a problem.
Is that the blue box?
Yeah. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over, and we're going to just we're going to have to set a time and not make no excuse. And
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a new amp and set up your camera, so this won't happen anymore. Because now it's not the mic, it's the amp. It's the blue is not powering these at all, so it's getting interrupted. So it's not you, it's the amp. So let's continue with what you were going to say. Go ahead.
No, I agree with what Leroy says about, have beliefs for yourself, have an ideal that you truly stand by, and not just because you've heard it from someone else. Like, do your own research and develop your own perceptions and beliefs in whatever you choose. I know I'm pretty strong in my beliefs. I have a pretty strong opinion on this Israeli-Palestinian situation, and I think it was 2 years ago. I actually watched a documentary about it was all about Palestine, and I remember that just really had an effect on me. And probably not in the way that most people would have an effect from watching that documentary. My heart does go out to the people of Palestine because they are very suppressed, but it's, I think it's directed at the wrong people and not the Hamas, basically a terrorist group that runs their, territory and has been the ones to suppress the people that live there and put them in these horrible situations. And then there's a huge homeless population. They have tons of crime. It's really sad, but it's not because of the Israeli people. It's truly from Hamas. And I don't know. That's my hope. I don't know. I kind of think I went off on a tangent there. I don't remember what the question was.
No, it's fine. It's on point. Who else? Anybody else want to chime in?
I forgot what the question was. I'm sorry.
Well, we were talking about Cory Booker, and then we were talking about the overall, just the impact of this conflict and how it's being played out. And I think there's this very real thought process to make this about good versus good and bad versus bad. And I don't think you can do that when it comes to terrorism. See, here's the conflict. And I tried to explain it on Saturday, is terrorism is an ideology. There's no political state. And I said that today in the video. Palestine isn't a state. It doesn't have any borders.
Right.
It's an ideology. And it's an ideology because they harbor terrorists. Now, the one thing people need to understand is the West Bank and the Gaza, they could very easily rise up. And this is hard for me to say. And if I have any Palestinians on, you're not going to sit here and tell me that I'm wrong because I've seen how you talk about Israel. You hate the Jews. Every Palestinian I've ever worked with or met, or I've had very good friends who are Palestinian, they hate Jews with a fucking passion. So you may not be terrorists, but you wish harm on Israel. So when Hezbollah or the PLO or Hamas do terrible things to Jews, you guys celebrate in the streets versus grabbing those people and taking them down or reporting them or using any type of resistance or police force to start slowly taking back your territory and prove to the Israelis that you're trustworthy enough that you're going to monitor and police your own area. But every time Israel gives an inch, you fucking guys launch rockets into them. So what do you want them to do? And then what do the Palestinian people receive? They receive being human shields for terrorists. And Saddam Hussein did the same thing. You had the same thing with Osama bin Laden. Al-Sharif did the same. I mean, this is a culture where they feel women are subhuman, where they treat women like they're dirt, where they'll beat women with canes. They'll throw acid on their face. They won't let them have an education. And Israel is hated not because they're Zionists, not because they're Jews. They're predominantly hated because they're the most progressive people in the Middle East. They were the first ones to embrace different religions, including Christianity and Catholicism and Orthodox religions. They became a safe haven for the Greeks coming out of Afghanistan. They've opened their arms to different theologies. They embrace the LGBTQ community openly. They're the only Muslim country that actually does not behead and throw their frickin' LGBTQ people off the building. In fact, they're accepted with open arms. Women's rights, human rights. It is the most balanced, equal place in the Middle East. And that is an affront to the Muslim religion, Allah, Muhammad, and the teachings in the Quran. And that's why they hate Israel.
Can I add something to that real quick?
Yeah, get
something
there,
that
dude.
Something that I know that you went through. When military folks go through schools that teach them about terrorism or that teach them about extremism, they generally describe the groups in terms of, well, there are certain people in those groups that are active supporters. There are the cadre is what they call it. And then there are others who are not active participants, but they don't do anything to actively dissuade the active participants, right? So then those people are like the enablers, right? So they don't necessarily agree with what their leadership is doing, but they're not going to say anything otherwise. And that can be for any one of a number of reasons. Either they have a little more acceptance in their heart for other cultures, or they're just too afraid of their own leadership and the fact that they might get, enslave their own selves. Who knows? My point is that not everyone in Palestine, falls into that terrorist category. I'd be willing to. There's a sizable percentage of people that are just like, look, we just want to live and let live kind of mentality. But what happens is, again, that leadership it's like a venom. When you get into this mindset of not accepting everyone else, but in fact having hate in your heart for other cultures, for other people, that never leads to a good place. And that's how these wars get started. It's this mindset of you have something that belongs to us and we're going to take it back, or we don't like you and we're going to ethnically cleanse you, and that's the stuff of dictators. I don't like it.
It's hard for me to accept a country not standing up against totalitarianism. And you certainly don't get to lecture the United States about that, because we did our time, right? Not only did we stand up to tyrannical rule against insurmountable odds, which we should have been wiped off the face of frickin' North America in a matter of 90 days if the English truly took us seriously and didn't treat us with the level of dignity and respect of going muzzle to muzzle, England would have steamrolled us. If they just would have marched directly to the most vulnerable parts in the colonies, we would have been done. But they treated us with a level of respect, which was foolish and stupid, and we wound up taking our penises and slapping upside the face with it. Good.
Fight dirty, man.
Because fuck the English, that's why. But any country that tries to, you can't educate us on history. We can't educate people on history. We can't educate people on culture. We can't even spiritually educate people, I don't think, effectively with our lack of understanding of overall time on Earth, right? But what we can do is talk about revolution and war. And those are two things that we've earned the right to talk about. And although we may not have seen Genghis Khan or the Mongolian Empire or the Persians or recognize the Japanese impacting the United States, but we understand war and we understand how to overthrow tyrannical rule. We have taught many countries to revolt, many countries to to move in through the phases of a coup. And the fact that it took Iraq 30 years to finally stand up for themselves is ridiculous. And the fact that Afghanistan never did after 21 years is ridiculous. I don't have any patience or tolerance for Muslim countries that are not willing to embrace their own freedom. And I hate to say it, Palestine, I respect the people from Palestine who have good and clean hearts. I think you're a bunch of fucking cowards and you didn't do enough. And now Judgment Day is coming and you're all going to have to reap what's coming because you didn't stand up and you didn't rise up or you didn't flee your country. There are opportunities to get out of Gaza. Now, they can't leave Gaza. That's not necessarily true.
Right.
You have southern exposure to Egypt, but you have to go through the process of leaving. And you also have to go ahead and kind of declare yourself and go through a level of investigation and interrogation that's extensive, but you can get out of Gaza. And it may not be easy, but tell that to the illegals coming up from South America and Mexico who are waiting in line. It's not easy, but I don't know what to tell you. Then rise up and take responsibility for your country and stop allowing terrorism to reign free. Stop taking the Iranian easy money. Stop getting frickin' bought off by terrorist warlords and housing them. Either you're going to have to fight bombs from 15,000 feet or you're going to have to fight man toe-to-toe on the ground against a gun, maybe when you have a spear or a bow and arrow. Unfortunately, that is how it's been done since the metallurgy days. And whether you were a Japanese samurai or an English knight or a Moor or a Saxon, you were always outnumbered. You were always the weaponry was always more sophisticated than what you had. And if you had to beat plowshares and the swords, then that's what you have to do. And I'm sorry, Israel has no more patience for Palestine. And guess what? I don't blame them that much.
Yep.
That's it.
I will say this too, that for every time that Israel has been attacked with rocks, and they respond in kind with rockets, they have this habit of overreacting to a serious degree.
Yep.
And I understood that this attack was very coordinated. They took prisoners. This was bad. This was hostages.
Hostages.
Yeah.
This was very bad. And so I'm thinking of what if I was Israel, what is my response going to look like given the history to overreact?
Yeah.
That's what I said Friday. So go ahead, Amy.
Well, not just that, but Hamas is literally posting videos, and I watched way too many today, and it was so disturbing. They were, literally stealing children, killing children, women. It's just horrible. They're saying they're going to let families escape, a home, and then they let the kids out and they shoot the dad right in front of this kids, and they're posting all these things, and it's absolutely horrifying. And I'm sorry, but if I was Israel, all you have to do is show me one video and I'm going to overreact because these are my people. This is my country. I'm going to take every step possible to say, no, enough. And I've heard a lot of people here in the U.S. saying, oh, ceasefire, let's all talk it out, kumbaya. And I'm like, if that happened here on U.S. soil, would we be telling the American people, oh, let's just talk it over with them?
Can you imagine the world telling us to chill out during 9/11? You guys just need to relax.
Oddly enough, though, Amy, I think that there are Americans who, even if that happened in their own house, in their own on their own property, that there are Americans who would say, all right, everyone just calm down.
Yep.
Honestly, I believe that because I think, I don't know when it happened, but there are people out there who have just been cultivated with this passiveness. And guess what, folks? Weakness never won a war.
I don't, Olivia,
Yes.
your thoughts on this?
I haven't seen any of the videos. I've heard things, but it's been from the news, so I'm sure it's definitely filtered. But I haven't seen any of the videos, so I'm pretty sure they're all pretty horrific.
Yeah, they're horrible.
And yeah, it makes me mad. Israel has every right to defend themselves.
Yep.
And Israel's not going into Palestine and doing what they're doing to the Israeli people.
No, that's a good point.
All they're doing is reacting and fighting back. But they're not being inhumane. They're not torturing people. They're not being mean.
And if they are, they're doing it against
Exactly.
terrorists and people who are military or people who
They're
are.
not doing it to women and children
Right.
and everything else. So
Listen, Israel was a hell of a lot more humane than we were with Iraq. They gave them 72 hours. You guys watch the Friday video or Saturday video. I specifically say there's a 72-hour window right now, a stay of execution that Netanyahu's giving, and he didn't even say that. But I just know the Israelis, and I know how they operate. They gave him 72 hours. I also said that Netanyahu and the IDF and Mossad probably had wind of this. I can say what I couldn't say Saturday is I know there were military bases that called people back from leave. October, November, December are the three biggest months for stand down in the United States military. It's when people take leave. Always around this time. First wave started on October 1st. Second wave usually falls in between November and Thanksgiving. Third wave is Christmas. And the military staggers 33% of their military out and go to a skeleton crew on most vessels, most overseas, etc. They canceled all those fucking leaves. That was last week. So if and not just that, there's other signs that I can't go into and that Leroy won't go into, but it's not hard when you have friends who are working with certain units that would be called up or deployed where 1 minute they're here and 1 minute they're not. And that every single time is always an indicator that shit's about to go down. I think the United States had foreknowledge of this. I think Mossad had foreknowledge of this. And I'll just be completely transparent. I'm not saying that anybody was complicit. I don't think they stood down. I don't think they wanted people dead. I think they had information like they always get every single day. I guarantee you Mossad gets as many tips and as many blow-up reports as possible, and they don't get to all of it, just like 9/11. And that's going to have to be something that Israel got comfortable. And Israel will never get comfortable again. I promise you this. They will never. This is going to take 200 years for them to ever let their guard down again. If you thought Israel was tough and strict before, they will never forget this. But I guarantee you the pieces of intel are out there. And either it was overlooked or it was ignored because this was a air, land, and sea attack. This was not just ground or rockets. There were people using paragliders. There was attacks in the southern part of Gaza in the water. What was it? Cayman? I don't remember the port. I'm out of practice. But so many different things happened. This was multi-million dollars worth of investment into this attack. So when people are like Netanyahu knew and he just let it happen, you're extremely naive. I think if Israel truly knew the level of this, that there would have been proof on the world stage. Netanyahu would have gotten green light from multiple countries, including the UN, to go in and take these guys out anyway, just on the plan that they did. They didn't need to do this. Now, by this being done, they are going to turn Gaza into a freaking parking lot. Nothing will remain. It's all going to be flattened. It will look like Crimea when they are done, and Syria.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Princess Gracie on YouTube had a very interesting
Princess
thought.
Gracie.
Princess
Are you
Gracie.
are you Princess Grace fan? Because I think Grace Kelly was one of the most beautiful women to ever live. Is that where it comes from, Gracie? Let us
I
know.
think her first name is Grace. I'm not sure.
Whatever. I'm just asking.
So she had asked if Hamas and Palestinians accept gay people, and I'm going to say they don't.
Yes, they accept them by seeing if they can fly.
So,
Right.
but her second thought was she was curious since the squad supports them, and they also support gay people.
Well, that's the whole thing. Here's a picture I'll show you.
Well, the left is
And I think-
built on a string of hypocrisies, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Here you go. Who wants to tell him? Who wants to
Right.
tell him? When I saw this picture on Twitter, I literally posted underneath. I said, "Who wants to tell him that if any listen?" Two things, and then I'm going to open it back up. Sorry, I'm going on a little bit of a rant. I'm trying to pull back a little bit. Two things. You guys saw the couple that was in New York. I think it was. They were coming back from a wedding, 4 a.m., and they were two socialist Antifa members, and a guy with a knife came up and stabbed him to death. And while he was being stabbed, he said, no, dude, I'm not a Trumper. I'm not a freaking maggot. I'm on your side. And the guy that was stabbing him said, what side, motherfucker? And murdered him. And the girlfriend didn't do shit. And then when the police came to interview her, she wouldn't go ahead and give the guy's description because she said it was systemic racism to do so and to go ahead. Okay, so there's number one. Now here's the second example. There was another group that wound up going through the artery of ISIS. And I don't remember where this was, but somewhere, I believe it was outside of Kabul, but I don't remember exactly. But these were like two hippie missionaries / let's bring peace. And ISIS is misunderstood. And all they need is the word of us to come to them and accept them with our love. Yeah, they're fucking killed, beheaded. They took them off their bikes and they cut their fucking heads off and did a video of it.
Jeez.
Let me explain to you people. If you have not looked evil in the eyes, then you have no business talking about it. If you have not looked it in the eyes, you have no business. And the second thing is, and you can ask any operator and they will tell you and they'll look you in the face. The only way to kill evil is to be evil. And there are a specific set of people who are responsible for that, and it ain't you. Those people have a certain predilection for having a lack of conscience for a reason. And they do a job that nobody would want to do. Let them do their job. So let the hunters eat. Let Israel do what they need to do because they're going to go feast. And they're going to go feast a lot and good. Anybody else?
Just if you could throw that photo back up. With
Yeah.
The, Queers
Yeah,
for
let me put you
Palestine.
on first because you're going to talk about it.
Well,
you go.
no, I mean, I was just going to make a point of that, which is that it's interesting. The farther left you go on the political spectrum, the more hypocrisies you will find, and the more exceptions to their own rules just seem to be passively, yeah, sure, let that one fly, right? So they don't mind making rules, and then they'll go ahead and break them. It's do as I say, not as I do. But as you travel further right on the political spectrum, all of that seems to dissipate, doesn't it? All of a sudden, people start getting treated more equally. All of a sudden, less hypocrisy is tolerated. All of a sudden, acceptance seems to be the norm. That's just my observation.
That's a
And
good
and in
one.
this case, I'm looking at these people going, and God love them. If
Yeah.
you are in the background for there saying, look, I understand what happens to gay people in the Middle East. I understand that. And having said that, I am still willing to say, look, I support Palestine, then God love you, if you understand that. if you understand that. But if you are just hiding behind a bed sheet, right, looking for the next Facebook, oh, I'm going to put my little black flag here because I want to show support. I want to show support now. Then you're not helping.
No,
I miss you, Leroy.
Learn more.
it's not that you're just not helping. You're complicit.
Yeah.
You're complicit in what's going to happen. All right. Here's the thing we need to shift to. Olivia had to step out for a quick second, but this one's big and everybody wants to know. Okay. I've been hearing this all day. It's amazing. Like I said, if you go on Saturday and watch the live show, it's amazing. You know, I'm starting to think there's people, see, because all of these major shows have writers, and these writers go around and they surf other sites and they get ideas and concept and they put them all together and then they go ahead and present them to Ben Shapiro and all these other guys. It's not like Ben pulls all this out of his ass every 5 seconds. He's hella good.
He's got writers.
But he's got writers, okay? They all have writers. And I'm telling you, because I told y'all last night at like 11:30, because I've got some relationships. Mossad put out a report across the wire that stated that there were several U.S. cities and countries around the world that were being targeted for terrorist attacks. I warned you all about this last night. In fact,
Yeah.
I don't know where it's at. Hold on. It doesn't matter. Everyone saw it. You go to Facebook and see it. Go timestamp it. Then I want you to do a search on the internet and see if anyone else on any of the major news channels were talking about this but me. Nobody was. I was the only one who told you this because I listen to people who are in the know. And the thing that I ask after talking to people is the following. Can I share this or not? I never say you're on the record. I just ask, can I share it? And most of the time, I get no. But there's times where
Sure.
the other people are like, absolutely. That's why I told you is to share it. I've had people who aren't supposed to share it who've told me to share it because they know it's going to get out. And they don't want to go to the New York Times or they don't want to go to the Post because they want to float the balloon. If you think there's people who don't give me information so I can disseminate and other smaller time podcasts, you're insane. Because it happens all the time. And people keep going around, how'd you know? How'd you know? How'd you know? Well, first of all, I listen and I don't read one source. You guys, the Friday I showed you, Saturday, I showed you some of the tools that I use. I had live updates. I mean, before it was even on the news, I was showing you strikes and showing you troop movements and showing you different types of military engagements that were taking place all over the West Bank, even in Egypt and Syria. Well, MSNBC and Fox isn't reporting on that shit because they're getting the easy pickings. They're getting their stuff fed to them. They don't report anymore.
Right.
So when I go into Maui and I go space lasers, okay, let's go do some research. Or I go in and it's like, okay, Mossad says this. Let me see what I can find out. And I do a singular topic and it never has to do with Trump. It never has to be focused on Biden. I don't have to somehow connect the sinew to what's popular. I just give you what I find and then tell you about it. So let me tell you this. If you think there are not Hezbollah, PLO, Hamas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and a few other 100 groups in the United States right now, you can find that information right now for free. Go do a search and put active terrorist groups in the United States, and the FBI already has that information for you.
Yep.
I'm going to say this. People consider, like right now, Graham Allen is saying, and Leroy, I want your opinion, I want everybody else's opinion. They're saying that an imminent attack is on U.S. soil being prepared. Okay. Relax. Breathe. Since 9/11, there are very few things that people can get in the United States or smuggled into the United States that can do enough damage to truly be alarming. The things we need to worry about are microscopic organisms, like a virus, water supply, computer hacking, and some nutfuck getting a dirty bomb. Dirty
Power
bomb
grid.
predominantly being the one we need to worry about most.
Power grid too. That's the one I worry about.
Computer hacking, power grid, data mining, monetary system, all that type of stuff. But if you think the thing, and then the last one, real quick, is the thing we haven't thought of yet. Because the United States doesn't sit around and think tanks and figure out how to kill Americans, no matter what you think. But terrorists do. In fact, they're the Betty Crocker of fucking murder. That's what they do. That's their baking. They're the Dolly Madison of killing people. And they sit around and figure out, how can I kill people effectively? Let me tell you this last thing. There are more terrorists working for the United States government than there are probably terrorists who could pull something like this off. After 9/11 happened, like cyber attacks, the United States went and hired the most hardened criminals who were computer hackers to work for the United States government in order to prepare for any type of offense with what are known as defensive countermeasures. The same thing is true for terrorism. We have flipped terrorists, we have turned terrorists, and we have people who are working constantly to expose cells all across the world. Our human intelligence is better than it's ever been. 9/11 made that happen. Am I fearful of an attack on U.S. soil? Of course. If somebody wants to get some plastique, if someone wants to get some Semtex or some dynamite or make a homemade bomb, it most assuredly could happen. But you have to understand right now, the infrastructure of Hamas, the PLO, Hezbollah, any remaining ISIS or Al-Qaeda are now worried about staying alive versus how they're going to attack the United States. There's a lot of time in between those things. Leroy, I'm going to let you go because you know a lot about this too, and then Amy and Olivia with any questions or comments.
Okay. So I have to preface this by saying that there's a lot of shit that I will not say. That being said, if I were a terrorist, knowing that 1 out of every 3 Americans is armed, right? Knowing that this is the most self-defense conscious country on the planet, and that the government endorses that, then I would certainly not go about any sort of activity by way of taking hostages or getting into a gunfight of any kind, because you just don't know, right? You're going to end up dead. That's a given. So to Matt's point, the other options are bombs, and passive kind of attacks, like cyber attacks, like biohazard type attacks. That's the shit that would keep me up. Fortunately, we have a pretty good system of monitoring for that kind of thing. It's not perfect. And if anything, the intel that you would think that would supply all of the tips for that, I mean, look at what just happened with Israel. I mean, they're literally being questioned as far as, why didn't you see this coming? It was on the anniversary, for Christ's sake, right? Mistakes can happen. So is it something you should worry about in a smaller town? Probably not. But in larger metropolitan areas, yeah, you might want to steer clear of that for a little bit. And I'm not saying this to start a panic or anything like that. I'm just saying, keep your head on a swivel, right? Steer clear of some of those areas for a little bit, and let's just see what happens.
Side note, the ammonium sulfate, I already did that show. I already tracked it. Leroy saw it.
Oh, I remember that. It was like 7 cars of that, right?
I crushed that episode. Sorry. I had that shit nailed down. I made the military base connection. Don't worry about that ammonium sulfate.
Yeah, okay.
They're not going to use that. That's not the way terrorists process things. Okay, they don't think that large. They want to take out as many or hurt as many people as possible. Buses, malls, subways. They don't have the facilities to do football stadiums. They don't have that capability. Okay, what we need to worry about. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. I told you Leroy cannot. He's ghosting this topic, so Leroy's not going to say shit. But I will tell you, the nuclear enrichment program in Iran is so close to producing a nuke. How do we know this? Because they just launched a satellite into space, which means Russia has been feeding Iran all of their rocket technology. Leroy's not going to say a word right now, and he's going to shut up and go dark. Iran just launched a satellite into space, and it successfully is in geosynchronous orbit with exactly where they wanted to put it. What does that tell you? Can they put an ICBM into space and have it come down and hit a target from 30,000 feet and be accurate? No. That's the good news. Here's the bad news. They don't need it to be accurate, because when you're using a nuclear weapon, anything that hits U.S. territory is good enough, especially when you're Iran. So it's not the person who wants 1,000 nuclear warheads that you have to worry about. It's the one who wants a single one. We need to hit Iran. And I have been saying this for 20 fucking years. I worked on the strike packages in Iran, the 9 provinces, and Tehran. I know it like the back of my hand. I know their military weaponry, and nothing scares me more than Iran having a nuke. Because I'm telling you, they don't give a flying fuck about making a dirty bomb and giving it to a terrorist and letting it off in U.S. soil. They don't care. Because they know the United States is not going to go full global thermonuclear war on Iran. They will give them the holy war that they want. The U.S. will invade. They won't send a nuke, because if we put a nuke in Iran, everyone's going to light off like Christmas trees. So we're going to have to go in. And that's what they want. The same thing that Saddam Hussein and Iraq want. The same thing that any of these fucking crazy countries want. They want jihad. So let me tell you this. The number one single thing you should be worried about more than anything else is a nuke going off on U.S. soil brought to you by your friendly neighborhood Aryans, because that's what Iran means in German. And if you haven't looked that fucking thing up, do. And find out about the Nazi relationships with Iran, which were one of the greatest friends Iran and the Ayatollah ever had, were Nazi Germany. You probably don't know that, but go look it up. They were called Persians at one point, folks. Persians. Go look up what the word Iran means. It's a long story. My whole point is this. Got to worry about the nuke. And we need to hit those facilities. Hard, fast. This gives us a green light to do that. Someone asked me, Leroy, I don't know if you can answer this. Gerald Ford moved into the Med. Is the United States Navy going to support? Yeah, he's not going to answer this. Is the U.S. Navy going to? Okay, Leroy, in an unclassified version, how do you see the United States Navy from a civilian analyst's point of view of supporting Israel through this hardened time?
Yeah, I think we talked about this right before the show started. So when you move an aircraft carrier strike group into a position, it's not there because of the Navy aspect of it, at least not in these terms, right? They're there to offer air support and air dominance, and they're going to do so. What they just moved into that neck of the woods is the greatest air force within any country, for 10 countries deep in that area.
Easy.
And that's
and half
not
of them
even,
can't fly over water and at night.
Yeah. Yeah. What literally has just happened is we've just brought by boat the greatest air force that has ever existed.
That's right. So, and not only that, one that can run sustained war for 6 months.
Yeah.
The United States Navy is the most powerful and lethal force on the planet. I love my Marines. I love my Army, and I love my Air Force. They're very, very cute. Nothing is more powerful than the United States fucking Navy. And we may not be badass when it comes to special forces, except for the SEAL teams. And we all may not be able to kill you with a freaking can opener as we eat an MRE and we have our rifle. But the United States fucking Navy is the most lethal force on the planet, period. Full stop. Leroy.
Yeah. Just as a point of perspective, if you were to sail the combination of every blue water Navy against the United States, the United States would still outgun them and outweigh them by 3 or 4-fold.
You
The
just don't understand.
combined blue water fleet of everyone against the United States, and we would still crush it within like
People
2
just
hours.
don't understand. They don't understand what a battle group consists of, because by the time you even get to the carrier, anything you fired off is getting fucking lit up like a Christmas tree by our jets, by our cruisers. And if you happen to get even maybe 100 anti-ship missiles within range of us, Sea-Wiz and Phalanx is going to fuck you up beyond reproach. You're not getting into our carriers. It's just, and you know what the world strategy, Leroy will not tell you this. Do you want to know what Russia's strategy is? Their strategy is to use their sub-hunters, their Akula class and other submarines. Do you want to know what China's is? Same thing. Do you want to know what the rest of the world is besides India and England? Nuclear warfare. The only way they can stop a carrier is to hit it with something so large that's it. That's the only way. You're not going to hit our battle groups like that. They are as deep as they are deadly. We've got subs protecting those things. You've got AWACS protecting those things. You've got anti-sub hunters protecting those things. At a moment's notice, you're going to get lit up like a Christmas tree. And what you usually have with one major battle group is another major battle group anywhere from 3 to 5 hours away. So if you happen to get a hit on that one battle group, don't worry. We've got plenty of more where that came from.
Yeah. If you, we were talking about this the other day, actually. I was talking about it at work. Somebody was talking about the threat that the current inflammation of the Chinese Navy has, right? And I just asked a simple question. I was like, all right, well, how many nuclear carriers do they have? How many? I mean, we have what, 13? How many do they have? Oh, none?
And
Think
why
about
none?
that. Yeah.
And why none? Right?
Right.
So listen, people just don't understand. Longevity, power, range are all within our capability, but over the horizon targeting, there's nobody even close. That's why I tried to tell you with the F-35s. The squadron of F-15s that went up, 10 of them went up. None of them came back, and none of them even caught the 35 on radar before they were all dead. There's nothing in any arsenal that can take out American warplanes. The only thing that we can do is get stupid and make a mistake, like doing a full air raid into Iran. That would be stupid. That would be dumb. So us making a big calculated error is the only way that we're going to lose a carrier, by putting it in a place that's so dangerous that it hits the hull, or someone can get some sort of explosive attached to it, or we put it in a place of vulnerability. That's where we'll make mistakes. It's going to be human error that costs lives, not the capability of our Navy. Okay.
So you're saying we're not about to watch Top Gun 2 live? Is that what you're saying?
No. What I'm saying is even as feckless as the Navy commanders are, and the DoD is right now, and is the pussification that's gone on, we're still the best military force in the world by far. So it just shows you how far we've fallen, and we're still the best. Just the way it is. Okay.
It sounded like
Deep breath.
Top Gun today here. Did you
Sorry,
guys have
guys.
it over? Did you guys have as many near your house that we had over here?
Yeah, and that's another thing I'll tell you that sent it off for me is Mike and I.
Because I immediately
Mike-
I
texted
heard him at
you
work.
a lot of. I was like, "Hey guys, should I be concerned?" It was just so many, and it was like rapid fire over like 30 minutes. Like, I mean, we hear them all the time. I don't even think about it, but it's like that was like boom, 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 and then the choppers or whatever you guys call them, the birds.
They did the mass exodus of Washington today.
Okay.
Up to Mount Weather, Leroy. So they've been doing single choppers, but they did squadrons. So they sent up 20, 25 choppers. So they're trying to figure out the pattern that they want, whether they want to stagger it or send them all at once. And I'm like, listen, if we have people here with SAMs, or you have bogeys in frickin' range that are sending foxes at evac stuff from DC, we're already in a world of hurt. So Just send them en masse. But they're trying to figure out this new egress plan into getting secondary people in Washington out, because obviously everyone's got to stick up their ass with nuclear war because Putin won't shut the fuck up. So they're testing this, but they also were they had squadrons up. There's a couple F-35s on pattern today, a few F-16s.
Nice.
It's loud.
Yeah,
It's an air show.
well, they had afterburners. They had afterburners on, so they were cooking just under subsonic. So all of them are, and I'm just sitting here, I'm fast asleep. I don't care. It doesn't bother me because I know what they're doing. Because all I got to do is look up and see that none of them are armed. Right. They're all running naked, but it's all drills, man. And you guys, that's what I'm trying to tell you. The United States is fully aware that what's going on in Israel could create conflict here. So they're going to make sure that their jets are training. Sorties are going to move up. Training schedules are going to get tripled and quadrupled. And they're going to make sure that our fighting force is protecting the United States. Dude, do you understand what it would mean to the United States government if we allow attack on the U.S. soil and it's successful? If we ever let that happen again, you don't understand the severity of that.
Last year, my kid noted, and this happened it was right under my nose. I walked outside and my kid was like, "Hey, where the hell did that come from?" We have a tree that's right outside the house. There's a point to this, so just bear with me for a second. And here, this giant nest of these bald-faced hornets. This nest was this big.
Were they murder hornets?
No, they're called bald-faced hornets. They're terrifying. Anyway, so I'm looking at this and I'm like, holy shit, I got to get rid of that, right? But the moment I started poking at it, they just fucking swarmed and they were everywhere and they were on alert. So when is the worst time to attack something that is already on high alert?
Yeah, that's it.
That's exactly the point. When you see that flurry of activity around our shores and in the air, now is not a good time to attack. Right?
It's nice to have you back, Leroy. We've got to shift, because you and I can talk about this all night. Last thing, real quick.
I do have a question before.
Before we shift. Last thing, real quick. Nobody wants the United States involved.
No.
Nobody.
No.
The only people who want it involved is Iran, but they don't want Israel and the United States at the same time. Because if they get Israel and the United States, they also get England. They get France. They get Canada. They get Sweden and Finland and Norway. They get Poland. They get everybody.
They say they want the United States involved. I really don't think they do.
They don't. No, I think Iran wants the U.S. I think the Shah is so fucking stupid and the Ayatollah are so dumb that they want the martyrdom. I really do. But you know what? I really don't at the same time. I'm talking kind of just out of the side of my mouth because we see what they do. They come up with their skiffs and they poke and then they fuck. They take some people hostage and they let them go. Yeah. They're just fucking with us. But I'll tell you what, the nuclear enrichment program, if Joe Biden wanted that stopped and he really thought that the Iran nuclear deal would do it, they would put it in place. He knows he's going to have to go in Iran. They're going to kick this to the next administration, I have a feeling. But I'm telling you, now is the time. Now, we got to hit those fucking things. I'm telling you. All right. Go ahead, Liv. What's your question, baby?
Okay,
Sorry.
So Judy on Rumble wanted to know if it was true that the M4 American rifles that we left in Afghanistan, are they being used by Hamas? She was told that by her son.
I heard that too. I heard that too. I heard a couple things were being used by Hamas that were left there.
I have heard that.
I saw that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say something quickly. If you go and watch some of the video that's horrendous, you'll see M4s. Now, that doesn't mean, you got to understand, there's a lot of M4s being used in Ukraine. There were a lot of M4s used in Syria. And a lot of M4s were left behind in Syria. And a lot of people have left the Kalashnikov rifle and moved towards M4s because of the amount of ammunition available. So I'm not going to sit here and say those are Afghanistan M4s. Not going to say that. I don't know the answer to that, but I will tell you is that some of them were using M4s. But I also know that Taliban was using M4s. ISIS and Al-Qaeda during the push in Kabul and when we were going after the caliphate, some of them were using M4s. So M4s have been all over the desert for the last 30 years. So M16s have been out of business for a long time. So it's predominantly the M4 is the Swiss Army knife of the military. Leroy, did you want to chime in on that or tell me I'm full of shit or whatever?
Well, I'd tell you you're full of shit, except that you're not. At least not in this case. But I will say this, that for every time that there's a question about whether or not, more Americans should or should not have certain weapons, you can just reflect back on this. Like, even if those particular M4s didn't come from what we left behind in Afghanistan,
right.
the fact of the matter is that is American hardware in the hands of people who mean to do us harm.
That's right.
And the fact that even happened is just more of a case to say, no, United States, you don't get to tell me how I choose to defend myself.
That's right. And not only that, two things quickly, and then we'll go, is Ukraine, the first thing they did for their citizens when Russia struck within the first 72 hours was lift all regulations and arm the entire populace. Yeah, Israel did the same thing.
Yeah.
So the next time the United States lawmakers want to tell us about Second Amendment rights, we should use the examples of Ukraine and use the examples of Jerusalem and Israel, because I guess they don't remember the times of Vietnam and Venezuela and Russia and China. And over the last 100 years, the disarmament of all those people and those examples aren't recent enough. So let's just use the last two proxy conflicts, okay, which are all in our minds, Republicans and Democrats. You either love Ukraine or you're for Israel. So everybody's for war. And if you are, the first thing they did was arm their people. So take that bullshit about getting rid of the Second Amendment and shove it up your staplered, lead-filled ass politicians. Okay?
It's funny you say that, and I just pulled it up just now. Gun laws in Jerusalem. Any citizen who meets detailed tests for carrying a private firearm due to self-defense and serving in the security forces and is without a criminal or medical record will be required to undergo a telephone interview instead of a physical interview, and will be able to receive permission to carry a firearm within limits.
It's great.
They allow it too, folks. They allow, and it sounds a lot like ours. So long as you're not a blatant criminal, you can have a gun.
Yep. I want to show this video real quick. And then this is some of the strikes going on. I'm going to let Leroy tell us what's going on with the unclassified version of some of these strikes. We're going to play Name That Tune. We're going to play Name That Tune.
I want to change the thing too. It says Cory Booker.
Oh,
still.
yeah. Here, let's do this. Do we have
Cory
some
Booker's
Jeopardy
mouth.
music?
Yes.
Name that bomb in 10 words or less.
What am I doing? My
Little
PDA?
game.
Is this what we're doing?
Yeah, that's what we're doing, buddy. Name that bomb. Are you ready?
All right.
Okay, here it is. Name that bomb. And I've already done my assessment on the video, so I will let you know. And I would prefer laser guided, GBU. Let's go cruise, or let's go. So it's either going to be GBU, laser guided, bunker buster. Can we say JDAM? Are we?
Yeah, you can.
No.
Use that.
You think JDAM? Okay, so we can say JDAM because Israel. Okay, and then that's about it. Cruise,
Are we all
GBU, no,
laser, cruise, or JDAM. Right? I got 4 options.
That's really pretty much it for Israel. Okay. Because nothing of this magnitude is ever going to be a Hellfire. There might be a couple Hellfires in here from drones, so Hellfire too. Okay. No, we're watching Leroy. Here we go. First one.
Oh, that's
an easy one.
Wow.
Oh shit, dude.
Well, that was a
really
Hellfire.
fucking around.
No. God damn. That was a big old JDAM.
Let me see it again.
That's a JDAM, buddy. Here it is, right?
That's got some zip on it. Woo!
That's
And so that's in Palestine or Gaza or whatever.
that's in Gaza, and that is a multifaceted, multi-explosion, multi-level ordinance. I mean,
The entire building's gone.
well, it's not just that; it was hit 6 times. So watch it again. Here it is.
Slow motion.
1,
Like,
2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah.
4 times. 4
Yeah,
times.
I saw at least 3 or 4 in there.
Yeah, that's a JDAM.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what we got.
What
It's
exactly is a
outstanding.
JDAM?
We'll explain. Same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that is just.
Look at that mushroom. Yeah.
Oh, it's look at that.
That's also a JDAM.
That's a JDAM. That's not.
Yeah, yeah. That is it's not. That looks like a GBU.
Yep, that's GBU. We'll explain what these all are. That's a JDAM.
Oh, yeah.
And not only is that a JM, that might be Moab. You know what? I think that's the first Moab that we've got.
wow.
I want to watch. Hold on, let me see.
Off that.
That's a
Yeah.
Moab.
I saw the shockwave.
Look at the size of those. Hold on.
Yeah.
We were both. Oh, we did satellite imagery. Hold on. Look at the size of those sky rises out there.
buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that building that's to the lower south in the frame, that's got to be 5 stories. So
Look at the burn radius. Look at
Yeah.
your concussion radius, and look
Yeah.
at your explosion radius. So that's an isometric for sure. Wow. Yeah, that's gone. It's vaporized. I mean, it's just gone. Okay, here you go. Here's some others. Just look at these multi-hits.
God, there's multiple of them in multiple locations.
Yeah.
making it rain.
So that's a drone.
Use.
And that can tell you that it's a few things. It's either a cruise or it's laser guided. I don't think they're using cruises to hit these buildings just because of the complexity of cruise missiles and what they're designed for. Cruise missiles are usually for stationary type targets that don't have a very high profile landscape. But these are most assuredly laser guided, assisted by drone technology. And it's one single drone, by the way. We don't have to use 10 different drones now. One drone is capable of painting multiple targets simultaneously. Yep. So I want you to imagine payloads being delivered from multiple vehicles and one solitary drone at 12,000 feet is painting all of these targets. How is it supposed to get hit by AAA, anti-aircraft fire? How is it supposed to get hit by small arms fire? How are you supposed to have you're just not. So most people's resistance to that, you would have to have electronic countermeasure type radar jamming. They don't have that.
Even if they even knew where the hell it was being painted from.
Right. You'd have to basically fry everybody within a fucking 10 miles anyway to get the right. Yeah.
Because there's no metadata embedded in this. You have no idea what's doing this work. Is this a Pred? Is this a Reaper? Or is this a Scan Eagle? Which you're not going to see.
Or question mark.
Yeah.
Especially with today's technology. Is it question mark?
Yeah.
So you can see these buildings. This isn't okay. So what's happening right here is we're done playing the game. It was just a joke.
Yeah.
What you're seeing here is that this is to put troops on the ground. These are strategic buildings that are being hit to have enemy resistance and tangos in them based upon intelligence. So they're going to come in and they're going to sweep and clear with high altitude bombing and nail these things with precision guided weapons to incapacitate the enemy and then move through with 300,000 reservists. Israel's putting 300,000 troops in country. I mean, they basically can stand shoulder to shoulder and just walk across Gaza and filter the whole damn place. I mean, it's not like Gaza's that much of a profile. Look up the size. Is it Rhode Island? I mean, it can't be that big.
Not that big.
I heard it was about the size of Washington, D.C.
Oh, God, it's even smaller than Rhode Island. So it's
Yeah.
tiny. It's tiny.
There's gonna be a lot of door kicking going on.
Oh, dude. and that's, you're going to have those Mossberg shotguns firing like crazy, taking out those doors. They're going to go to work, and Israel's not going to be kind. But
141 square miles.
Okay.
So 25 miles long, and
it's nothing. It's
3.5 to 7.5 miles wide.
It's like 10 Diego Garcias. I wonder if they stand on it wrong, will it tilt and sink? Remember that senator said that? Okay. So if you watch this, look at this one. Okay, if you take a look, there's some blurring up here. See this? Mm-hmm. Oh, hold on. See this blurring?
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think there would be blurring here?
So that's where you can't see the other bombs.
Why would you not want to be able to see those bomb profiles and the signatures? Leroy, shut up. He's already shutting up. Why would you want to blur out those images?
Because one, you don't want them to know what kind of bomb it is, and can't you?
What are Leroy and I doing with this in Intel? We're picking it apart and telling you what systems. They don't want that because that bomb is so top secret and the signature of the explosion that nobody's seen it yet. So they're blurring that shit out. So some of the things that are using and hitting and the way it's coming in and the angle it's coming in, I guarantee you are completely opposite of what current technology can do. And we don't want the enemy to know that. So we're blurring some of this shit out. And Israel has some of that stuff. Why? Well, because they're our good friends.
Israel
also
they're technological giant.
It's not just tactical data. This isn't this is tactical data up here. I'm talking about those explosions that were over here as well. This is, hold on. Can you see my mouse? Yeah. This is tactical data here. This is tactical data here. See that? You can see the colors. That's tactical data. Those explosions that were over in here were getting blogged out. So either they don't want you to know what they're hitting, or they don't want you to see the signature of some of these blasts. And I bet it's A and B. All right. All right, so let's do this real quick.
What I was saying, though, Matt, not that it was a tactical. I said technical. I said Israel is a technical giant. They have the means to bring like some really high-end shit to the battlefield, which is the complete opposite of Palestine.
Yeah, and understand when we say technical, technical is also ordnance too.
Yeah.
So there various language here. So like Ramon is over there going, or he's saying, hey, it's the technical data. Yeah. Definitely up in that top corner. I was talking about the profiles of different bombs going off in the lower center part of the picture. Some of them were blurred out. Okay, so either you don't want to know what they're hitting, which is possible because I'm going to tell you right now, they're hitting mosques too. They're hitting everything. A couple schools got hit. It's unfortunate, guys, but Israel doesn't have a choice. This is where the bad guys are. And either you're going to get more Jews killed by sending in ground forces that are going to get freaking sniped, that are going to get picked off because these bastards do that, or they're going to have people clacking off vests when they come in. They're going to set IEDs, or you take them out now. And unfortunately, that's why they got the 72-hour warning. So right here, what system? Not explosion, because it's Hellfire. You can tell. It's a low profile. See that? See how it blows out?
That's a little bit big for a Hellfire, isn't it?
No, because look at these columns over here. Look at these rows of irrigation. So you're probably looking at 50-foot span right here. And what, 1.5 feet in between these irrigation rows?
Yeah, I can't tell without the metadata.
Well, you got a road right here. So that road's going to be 12 feet, maybe 15 feet wide, right? So two vehicles. What I'm missing
is scale.
Well, it's a dirt road, and you got irrigation right here. You can see your plot lines. So you got road here, you got plot lines here. These things are probably 50 feet apart. And then you got 1.5 feet in irrigation lines. You've got some sort of
standing. Damn it! Now I got to get on Google Earth. I don't want to.
I'm just telling you, bro. Look at the road. I'm telling you that explosion's probably 100 foot in diameter. That's Hellfire worthy, yeah.
Do you have a remote view? No, I'm kidding.
Dude, seriously. Take a look at that again. Also, dude, you're on optics, so it's going to be bigger than it actually is. you're going to get flare. You're going to get light flare on this. It's IR. So, you mean you're on green? See it? Look at that. The explosion parameters right here. That's how big it is because you can see the outward line, the cooldown line, break in the atmosphere. And then you got your concussive force here. So you're probably getting glare on that too. Let's watch it in real time. Folks, this is fun shit for us. Just this is where we get hard-ons. See? That's small. That's small. It's a Hellfire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a Hellfire. Secondary explosion. It's Hellfire. So boom, Hellfire. So that's a pred.
Okay.
That's a drone.
Nope.
That's a pred.
The moment
that's
I
small
saw people in there.
Yep. Now look at this. Look at this. Look at this spray pattern. So what is this? Tell everyone what they're seeing right here with this.
That. Do it again. Yeah.
Now the question is, it's not simultaneous.
No.
So it's a lead. That's small arms fire. That's what?
Yep.
30 millimeter.
30 millimeter cannon. It's probably from a
30.
chopper. It's an Apache or not Apache. Something along those lines. Yeah. It's an attack
Chopper.
whatever they use.
Okay, last ones, and then we'll be done. Oh, that's vehicle. That's Hellfire. Oh, see the sheep? Meh. At least you got cooked lamb chops. Yeah, that's Hellfire.
Oh man,
Look
I
at
bet
those
they
guys.
just had that washed.
Yeah, that's good. You know what? I bet they got the phone call for their auto insurance policy, though. You know?
Oh, I bet OnStar is probably trying to get a hold of that vehicle right now. We just showed that you were in an accident. Where are you calling me from?
If you guys
I'm
think
in
you guys think this is bad, you're like, you guys are heartless. You have to be. When you see shit like that, and there's things that you see that you can't make fun of. I mean, there's tomahawks that didn't go where they were supposed to go. There was targeting packages that we put forward that, listen, if you can't laugh, you're going to put a gun in your mouth. That's the best thing I can tell. If you can't learn to laugh and just joke a little bit, it's, yeah. Anyway, high probability, survivability 0. That's the term. Israel is no longer fucking around. Here is the last video of the night, and we get to talk about this. And I'm
One
so
quick
happy.
question before we.
Is this
Yeah,
another
quick
like
question.
pred? Can we do like
No.
a slant on this one? Can we do that?
No, we're done. Go ahead.
When is the 72-hour window up for Palestine and Hamas?
Minus 14. We already crossed the threshold. It was like 8 o'clock this morning. 6 o'clock Eastern Standard. So they're understand this. They're going, and when Israel says they're going to take the gloves off, they're putting troops in the ground. There will be nothing from a resistance standpoint left by the time Israel's done. They will kill every terrorist. They will take absolutely no prisoner. They will kill them on sight, and they will take no quarter. Israel is done. Israel's done. There's going to be no tribunals because they're terrorists, so they don't fall under Geneva Convention rules, and Israel doesn't follow by that anyway when it comes to terrorism.
Right.
They are to be killed with extreme prejudice, and because they attack them, now they can't. There's certain things they can't do. Right? I'm not saying they're going to just murder people. But if you're in an armed conflict and you're putting rounds on Israeli forces and IDF, you're going to die. You're not coming. You're not walking away from that. You're going to die.
Something that both Matt and I and everyone who's ever deployed and looked at FMV or full motion video, if you've ever done that type of work, one of the qualifiers when you are the guy behind the screen saying, hey, we have a military aged male in traditional garb, right? And are they armed? If they meet like 2 or 3 of those criteria,
punch it.
Then they're not supposed to be there, and game on. That's how it works.
Light them up. Light them up. Punch the clock. Go to work. That's it. It's not genocide to murder because it's not murder. It's proactive self-defense. So terrorists, when it comes to Israel, they have a zero tolerance policy. They don't have to follow the rules. They are invading a country they are retaliating against the country that invaded them, and they are going to eliminate the threat. What's hilarious is Hamas leaders are calling for peace. They're like, stand down, ceasefire. Fuck nobody. Yeah. Nobody. Hey, bro, that's not how it works, Bobo. This is over. You guys are all going to die. So
you done fucked up, Aaron.
You better shave and fucking get some tattoos and start eating some pork, or you're going to die. That's about the best thing I can tell you. You better start reading, like fucking getting some rosary and Hare Krishna and shit and wearing, become the Dalai Lama or something, because you're going to die. If you're Hamas, you're fucked. And here's the thing. This is what I want for the Palestinian people. You go into a village, you go into a populated area, and you walk in, and you're the IDF, and you're strapped, and you're 50 wide with 3 columns, and you're coming in at 20 miles an hour, and you go ahead and set up perimeter, and every one of those civilians meet in the town square, and the IDF says one thing: tell me where they are. And they go, here, 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 and here. Here's some food, here's some water. Go see where our tracks are. Stay behind those. Go. All those fucking civilians go. And they move north towards Israel because that area is clear. And then they're going to fucking bomb the shit out of that place. And then they're going to start doing door sweeps. And that's the way it's going to be done. And they're going to clear each quadrant and check the box.
At some point in several of those towns and villages, it will be like the opening to Inglourious Bastards, where the guy shows up and says, "We know that they're here.
Right.
Tell us now, and your family will live."
Israel's not going to fuck around, guys. They're the enemy. It would be okay. The best way I can describe it is if you think the gloves weren't off in Afghanistan, they were. So the Israelis just do it in a way that's extremely cold and extremely effective. And their leaders don't lie to you. Yeah, that's the thing. Schwarzkopf and they didn't tell us the truth. And Powell, they went up there, Iraqis, we're going to rebuild here and we're going to bring America to Iraq. But what they were doing behind the scenes was laying waste. So Israel just goes, so when it comes to there won't be any hostages. You're like, yes, but sir, in the hypothetical sense, we don't do hypothetical, right? But if somebody surrendered, there won't be any surrender. And if you watch the IDF briefings, they're on at 9:45. There's one right now. That's the way they are. They'll be like, 920 Israelis have died, 3,300 casualties. Now let's get to Gaza. We killed with impunity. We took down this. I mean, it's cold hard facts. All right, we got to get to this video because I want to bring in Olivia. Olivia's ready to eat her face.
Oh, so, good old Kennedy.
So Kennedy, amid all of this, hold on, I got to do this. So title is No, the other RFK. All right. So this is our guy. Now, RFK in the midst of Israel, this was the second most important announcement of the day. By the way, for all the 250, how many people are on Rumble?
52.
So 225 people on right now. Thank you so much for being on. It's good to see you. We've been waiting for shows like this with this many people. So it's good to have you. We love you. We appreciate you. I see your comments, and I'm sorry we haven't gotten a lot of them tonight, but I hope you're enjoying the show. And this is where we're the best. So,
and for everyone who has not seen me, if you are new to this channel within the last 6 weeks, it is tradition on this channel to say something mean pointed at me. So feel free to go ahead and drop a comment in there. Just keep it clean, and let it fly.
Cleanish.
Leroy is he's a rags to riches. He was a fan of the show and then became a host And Amy was a fan of the show, and then she became a host. And then my wife is obviously
I was a co-founder of the show, and I never did it until like a few months ago.
My wife's a big fan of me, and
I helped you name it. I came up with the name.
I don't. That's not true. But
Well, I
that's
was the reason you started the thing.
okay. That's it. You didn't come up with the name, but that's okay. I love you.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is, people are asking about Hezbollah and Lebanon, and we do have to talk about this. Okay. I'm just going to give you my quick rendition. Hezbollah has 300,000 missiles. They are not a slouch. Lebanon has been through as many wars and battles over the last 75 some odd years as Israel has, but they also have another 1,400 years before that of experience. The Lebanese people are extremely tempered in steel and the fires of Mordor. But the United States would fucking flatten them in a New York minute. But Israel does not want to fight a battle on three fronts. Watching their complete six of Iran up north, facing Lebanese north, hitting Jerusalem and Tel Aviv is not good because command and control is I'm not going to say this, actually. I'm not going to tell you. But there are not many command and control units in Israel. They're not like Iran. Iran's spread out over 9-10 different command and control centers that can run the entire country. Israel's not that way because they don't have that much real estate. And they don't have a lot of other bases outside of Israel because they don't. They rely on the United States and other countries to supply a lot of their communication networks, radar defense, and things to that effect. So, needless to say, they don't need to be facing Iran and facing Hezbollah, which is a very North Korea, South Korea thing. There's enough rockets to flatten Israel, and there's enough artillery fire from North Korea to hit Seoul. It's a very similar situation. And then they also don't need to get involved in the West Bank and Gaza. Right now they're in Gaza, and they're fighting small conflicts in West Bank. But if West Bank fires off and Lebanon and Hezbollah gets into this fight, which they probably will, it's going to get serious quick. And in my opinion, even though Leroy may not be able to give it to you, is I believe that's why the Gerald Ford is there, to create a no-fly zone and to also assist with taking out key military targets that are going to be a little bit more difficult for Israel to do hitting Lebanon than it is hitting Gaza. Although there are plenty of integrated air defense systems in Gaza, they are not as advanced as what's going on in Lebanon. So I believe the United States will create air superiority in the region and also assist with ground targets that will make them less effective against Israel's bombers and fighters. Leroy, do you want to add anything?
No, I think you hit a perfectly good, rational, logical explanation of that. I was just thinking the irony, of course. Isn't it Hezbollah? Isn't Hezbollah translated as the party of God? Isn't that it?
Something.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking to myself, boy, party of God. Yeah, let's go start a war.
I thought it was an anal warts cream or something is what it stood for. So
I never
the
bought that
point is this, is Lebanon by itself is, listen, Israel's been at it with Lebanon. The Lebanese and Israeli war is on record. We know the 6-Day War. We know the Yom Kippur. But we can go on and on and on and on. There's plenty of battles between Lebanon and Israel. But the Gerald Ford is there for a reason. And it's not from a naval threat, because there isn't one. There isn't one. Yeah. So it's not there for it has one mission. And there's only so many missions an aircraft carrier can do. It's either for naval superiority or air superiority. That's it. That's all it's designed for. It doesn't do anything else because it can't. It can't go on land. Yet. I mean, unless it grows like those helicarriers from Marvel Comics. I mean, that's badass. But its job is air superiority and naval and water superiority. It's essentially cuts off bodies of water the size of the Mediterranean, the Black Sea, the Persian Gulf, and with enough carriers, at least 3, you can shut off the entire Atlantic Ocean if you want to. All you got to do is put one up in the Giat Gap, put one down in the south in the Cape, and then go ahead and roam the sea of the Indian Ocean and everything else. If you want to shut down the entire Atlantic, 3 carriers will do it for you. So the United States Navy. Yeah, go ahead.
A United States supercarrier is the greatest piece of power projection equipment ever devised.
Yeah, there's nothing better.
And now they've got one parked in their backyard. Guess what? They just Again, I mean, I said the point before, but the greatest Air Force that has ever been invented is now sitting in a pond in their backyard.
Hold on a second. Hayden. I caught my daughter. So hold on. Hayden.
Caught your daughter.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Caught her?
I'll tell you in a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here and I give her a hug and I get something on my fingers.
What is it?
And I'm like, what is that? And I'm feeling it like, and I'm going to be gross here. I'm like, it feels like glue or a booger or something. So I'm
Is
like,
it
what?
honey?
I'm like, what the hell is it? No. And I keep feeling it. I'm like, well, it's brown. Now I'm really worried. Right. So I'm like, oh God, maybe the cat was sitting on her. So of course I got to be the dad. I'm like,
Was she eating waffles?
so I do the smell check and I'm like, it's fucking chocolate. Hayden!
Where did she get chocolate from?
Come here.
Trying to get ready.
Right here.
No.
Stop.
What did I do?
Look at me.
Yeah.
She knows she's in trouble. She's like, oh my God. Because when I go right here, she's like, oh my God, what did I do?
I'm innocent.
Okay, you're innocent. So
Is there anything Hershey's want to tell us?
is there anything Hershey's you want to tell us?
What?
So I'm going to give you one chance in front of everybody in the entire audience. It's, you know how this game goes, right?
Yeah.
It's almost 10 o'clock.
I had a rice cake. That's why my breath smells like chocolate.
With how much Nutella?
Nothing.
Don't-
She doesn't like the Nutella that we have.
Hayden McKenna.
All
That was
my life.
Hayden, don't make me. That was not Nutella. That was not a rice cake because it was chocolate. It was on your shirt. And when I went over to hug you, you left it on my fingers.
Did you like?
It's chocolate and
Yeah,
it wasn't a
there's
rice
chocolate
cake.
chips in the rice cake. I'll go get a rice cake.
Okay. Thank you. High five. You win. Good enough. Thanks for being. No, you're not innocent. But it was chocolate. It wasn't a rice cake. It's chocolate chips in the rice cake. I didn't know we bought chocolate chip rice cakes. I didn't know.
It's chocolate rice cake.
I owned it right away. Relax. Don't try to play games with me. You can't lie to me. You
Although
know
they
better.
took all
She
the
was
Halloween
one that-
candy we got from being booed.
Yeah. Okay. So
Here, you thought she was going to go and join Willy Wonka's Magic Factory, right?
she's so funny because when she's innocent, she's emphatic, and that's why I know. When she's lying, she's meek. It's so easy. I'm like, don't ever play poker with me, kid. All right. Listen, Lebanon, they're going to get involved. They're not stupid.
Yeah.
They're already threatening the United States. They've already said that there'll be retaliation for every bomb that they drop. Lebanon has said not to get involved. They're flexing. They're posturing. They don't want to look like pussies to the rest of the Middle East, and everybody's on display. So Iran's going to puff up. That's why Qatar got involved. Jordan started opening their mouth. We have a peace treaty with Jordan, a peace treaty with Qatar, and the United Emirates, and they all had something to say. So you don't want to look like a pussy in the Middle East. But Lebanon isn't stupid. And if they decide to scramble fighters, you're going to hear on the news 3 fighters over Lebanese territory were shot down today in a training exercise. Or they crashed or some shit. But there's a couple things. I don't think Lebanon can fly over water or at night. I'm pretty
that's
confident.
correct.
Yeah, so they can't fly over water or at night. So the threat of these guys is broad daylight. We send up one F-35 and this whole fucking thing's over.
If I'm not mistaken. They were still using Phantoms until just a few years ago.
Fuck, they were using A4 Skyhawks. They were using A4 Skyhawks and F4 Phantoms. You're absolutely right. I don't even know what they're using now. Are they using Falcons or 15s?
No idea.
I don't even. It's fucking Lebanon. Who cares? Literally,
Yeah.
it's like 3 planes, and and maybe some 30mm rounds.
Yeah, yeah. It's not unlike what just happened with Palestine, where they literally had dudes in with those hang gliders.
Right.
That's their idea of high end aerial combat.
Can I also tell you, in World War II, ask the airborne how insane that was jumping into Normandy, and literally seeing Germans just doing this with P-40s, just waiting for these paratroopers to come down. Those guys flying those gliders, oh, sniper's dream. Sniper's dream. Just
I love how
waiting
you've
for those
got
guys
it paused on Kennedy right here, right when he looks like he's at his angriest.
Looks
He's
like he's
either
gonna
that
have
or
an
he's trying to
aneurysm.
pass something. Yeah.
So
like he's
can I
on the-
can I get a little appreciation of who said that RFK was going to run as an independent and who said that over a year ago. Does anybody want to go ahead and throw me any accolades?
That was you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
So
I think, but I can't remember though.
shush, Liv, don't even do it. And remember what I said that would do to Joe Biden, and this is why the Democrats are going absolutely fucking ballistic right now.
It would take what? I can't remember if you said 7%.
I said it would take 7% of votes away from Joe Biden. It's also going to take away some from Trump, but not enough. If people know that Trump could win, they're going to rather vote for Trump. This is not good news for the Democrats, considering that Joe Biden was already one of the most least favorable presidents in U.S. history. The economy is complete toilet. And if you ask any political analyst what gets you elected as president, it's three things. First of all, it's the economy, it's the economy, but also war. And remember what I told you, the only way Joe Biden can win is if he goes in a war. I also said the same thing. So remember that. Remember that, folks. And if you think that Hamas didn't pick this day to invade just because of the date, but also realize it's a very opportune moment because Kevin McCarthy is out as speaker and he is about as pro-Israel as they get. Look up Kevin McCarthy and look at the amount of visits he's had to Israel, his relationship to Netanyahu, and the overall support he has voted with the Israelis 100% of the time. With him being gone, the purse strings of the house are tied in knots. And trust me, I told you about the Iron Dome. $300,000 for a 3 to 5 round volley apiece. How many times did that thing went off? All day, all night. $1.5 billion a fucking day Israel's going to be spending on the Iron Dome. So it's going to get expensive. Here's RFK. We're going to let the ladies go first because they've been awesome. It's been a love fest between Leroy and I. We haven't.
I know your bromance. You haven't been able to.
It's been so long. I've missed him. I'm just saying.
Honestly, it probably would have been easier if Amy and I weren't even on.
Oh my God. Okay, play the. Do we have the guilt violin anywhere? Where's it at?
Hey,
I don't have one.
I'm here to declare myself an independent candidate.
Even though the sign right behind him says you're independent candidate, but whatever.
I want Camelot.
This is Ross Perot all over again. Dude, they're even calling him Bobby. These fucking people need to move on. It's not Bobby Kennedy, guys. It's not even close. He's nothing like Bobby. Dude, the Kennedys were freaking Republican conservatives more than anything in today's climate. This guy is not a conservative, but I'll hold on. These people are literally National Enquirer hawks. These are the people who still remember Jackie O, okay? They're not the everyday voter. But as long as they take Biden votes, I don't care.
Well, you know what they're hung up on more than anything else is his last name.
Well, that's it.
Yes.
I'd be curious to know if 75% of those people can name one in policy that he has pushed forward. Or is it just his name?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of people there, right? This is fairly large crowd. And crowds are not necessarily indicative of votes, but it's a good thing, man. I mean, I want this more than anything to get a Republican in office. I'll be honest with you. I don't think we can handle another 4 years of Biden. I mean, this guy has fucked up everything he's touched. Let's finish his speech.
Independent candidate for president of the United States. That's not all. I'm here to join you in making a new Declaration of Independence for our entire nation.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
I was waiting for everybody's asshole to pucker.
What?
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to get you. Like if there was a way for me to put Pavlov's dog scenario scale on here, it was like when Leroy hears that, Leroy is going to shit the bed. Here, let's go and listen again. Here it is again.
Independence for our entire nation.
No.
I'm here to join you in making a new Declaration of Independence for our entire nation. We declare independence from the corporations that have hijacked our government.
Oh. So you listen, you don't need to be a speechwriter to know where it goes from here. Of course, he's going to talk about big money. He's going to talk about influence in politics. But it would be kind of like a candidate saying, we're going to have a new emancipation proclamation for the U.S. government. Folks, Magna Carta is going to be reinstalled in the United States. I don't know if I like that. Let's start with Olivia, then Amy, then Leroy. Go ahead. You got to say it like him. I don't know.
Who's the guy from the police academy?
Well,
Bobcat.
there's a
Old
bunch.
wave.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
right.
Yeah,
That's what he sounds like right there.
That guy? Yeah. Bobcat? Yeah. I can't do his voice. But yes, he sounds like Bobcat. Is that all you're going to add?
No, just the way you were sounding right there. I don't.
To turn you on?
Saying you're going. No.
Oh.
No.
Sorry. Jeez. God.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Thinking of that guy. No. Then.
Well, you hurry up. He's fit as hell. I mean, as far as all the presidents, he's pretty fit, dude. He's yoked.
Well, I'm not looking at his body.
Okay, so what do you think about Robert, Bobby, whatever, JJ? What do you think about him running for president of the United States?
I've got no problem with him running as an independent, but I'm going to make a new Declaration of Independence. How about not saying a new Declaration of Independence? How about I'm going to declare us independent from these? Don't say declaration.
I was thinking the same thing. That's
like,
exactly
the
nuance I was going to change it to. What about you guys? You agree with that? Would that be okay for him to say, I want to declare independence from the corporation? As our founding fathers declared independence against a tyrannical government, I will be doing the same as declaring independence from the corporations, the political action committees, the dark money, and the overall influence that blah, 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 blah has.
That's much better than saying a new Declaration of Independence, because that's the first thing you think if you're like, wait, what? Why? No, that's non-touchable. You can't touch that. And I think that's going to turn some people off.
Fair enough. Amy?
Yep, absolutely agree. I don't care if he's going to run. I think it would be good also to take away from good old Joe Biden. But he's just too old. He kind of sucks. I don't care.
You're not an RFK
Not as
guy.
old as Biden.
No,
Well, nobody's
not
older
RFK.
than Biden. I think Jesus is probably younger than Biden.
Yeah.
So I think God was a corporal when Biden was in. I like RFK from a conversationalist standpoint. I find him interesting. I find him to be a breath of fresh air. I find him to be able to argue some of the most inane and crazy fucking points I've ever heard. Like, he started talking about transgender frogs, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I listened to him for 5 minutes, and I'm like, holy shit. He's got data to back this up. So I started Googling it. I'm like, he's actually right. And Alex Jones talked about this too, and I made fun of it before, but it comes down to this. Frogs have been genetically spliced over and over and over because amphibian DNA is so amazingly resilient. You could basically splice it with a fucking falcon and a poodle, and somehow the amphibian DNA would continue to replicate and survive the process, where everything else it dies. That's why amphibians survived, whether you believe an asteroid hit here or a nuclear winter. It's just amphibian DNA is extremely resilient. Whatever. I don't care. And I've listened to his stuff about vaccines, and I think he makes some valid points. I don't like his philosophy on guns. I don't like his philosophy on big tech. I don't like his thought process on abortion. I don't like his globalist standpoint. I don't think he's a populist. I don't think he believes in military defense spending. I am not a fan of him, and I would never vote for him. And you can never say you're a Republican. You're just anti-establishment if you vote for RFK. And if you want to be an anti-establishment person, that's totally cool. You can do that. That's fine. I don't think most of America will. However, he's got the votes to get on the debate stage. in between Trump and Biden. And if Trump wants to go ahead and win, Trump is going to have to get on the debate stage and team up with RFK against Biden. And that is a very smart move by Trump, because Trump can say, hey, man, I'll make you my chief of staff, or hey, man, I'll go ahead and make you secretary of state, or hey, man, I'll do this for you, but you just give me Biden's head on a plate. And there we go. Leroy, what are your thoughts? You haven't said anything.
First of all, I mean, I would agree with everything you just said, but I would also add that I can literally see the conversations around the Biden dinner table going, I need a war. I need a war to get back in. You know, I can see these conversations happening. And
wait a second. Wait. Is that Biden? Wait, hold on. Yeah. Was that Biden you were mimicking there?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were doing a Kennedy. Okay, go ahead. So that was Biden. I need a war. Biden. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I need a war. Anyway, the connotation there that he put forward about, hey, writing a new Declaration of Independence has got to be one of the dumbest things I have ever heard. There's no way I would vote for somebody who actively, now maybe he meant what you guys were talking about, which was the disalignment between politics and big corporation, but that's not how it came across. His punchline was, no, we're going to write a new Declaration of Independence. And right. I would sooner vote for Biden than have that happen. I mean, I'd
because it's a pivotal part of our Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights. I mean, it's just as important.
I would rather have a cheese grater shoved up my ass than vote that way. Yes. So, because at that point, you're going to say, all right, well, what's next? If someone's willing to take a
would that cheese grater be vertical up the anus, or would it be sideways?
I suppose, dealer's choice.
I think sideways would hurt more, wouldn't it?
Probably.
My point right ahead.
Is ping pong and ding dang.
Ping pong goes shit and pancake. Dude, you need to let it happen. We're going to interrupt you. Remember the rules. We're going to do it from time to time. So here it is. It's like playing ping pong and ding dang. I had a ping pong handle shoved up my ass. The other end, I've been shitting pancakes for a week. All right, go ahead. Now you can go.
My point is that if someone's willing to say that about the Declaration of Independence, what's the next document that's up on the dinner plate? Is that going to be the Constitution? Yeah. Where does it end? Because what do they call them themselves? The progressives, right? Progressive or progressivism can become regressive, and that happens all too often when people are saying, "No, we need to start over." Progress for the
sake of progress,
right? When we get to a point where politicians are telling us, "Look, we're going to rewrite these things because it's for your safety," no, fuck off.
Yeah,
I'm not voting that way.
Yeah, progress for the sake of progress is the definition of regress, right? So if you're just doing it to do it, then and really that's regressivism is where we've been now. Out of the last 16 years, 12 years. Because I believe we regressed under Obama, we regressed under Biden. I believe we moved forward with Trump and then fell back a little bit, quite a bit with COVID. I think we fell back even further with Biden. And then we saw some light at the end of the tunnel, which was the optimism for the dollar and investment in real estate that people said COVID's over, so let's get back to Trump numbers, and then said, oh, fuck, there's too much damage, and now we're back to regressivism. Because any type of bubble that was there is not popped, but it just basically here was nice and firm, and now it's it's just waiting for the real estate market to crash. It's waiting for the dollar valuation to go to a point, and inflation's we're gonna have to print more money. Fed's gonna raise interest rates again. Then we're gonna have to print more money. Inflation goes back up. This is the way it's going to be. And now our oil reserves, gosh, it really sucks we got involved in a conflict in the Middle East. I wonder what's going to happen with the gas prices now that we don't have any oil reserves left.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what Intel folks, that's what they do, folks, is when you start putting those puzzle pieces together and you realize, oh, conflict in Middle East, what's that going to do for marathon stock prices?
Yeah. Well, here it is. Last thing for tonight, and then we're really, really done. Here it is. Listen.
No question about it. All right. So the president, the White House called a lid on the president at 11:46 a.m. this morning. Given what is going on, John, why would that be?
Well, a lid means that he doesn't have any more public-facing events. It doesn't mean that the president's not working, and he absolutely is working. He had another update this morning with his national security team. He stayed updated throughout the day. He's going to be talking to foreign leaders later this afternoon. There'll be a public component to that in terms of at least making it clear what that conversation was like and what the details of it were. We'll be putting that out and making sure people know what that conversation was all about.
Is the president at the White House right now, John?
He is indeed, yes.
All right, so why put a lid on today? I mean, there might be multiple opportunities when he might want to come out and address some of what's going on, given this urgent situation. You've got American hostages in Israel and 9 Americans dead. So doesn't that seem like a little odd to do on a Monday?
A lid, again, is an administrative decision about whether or not there's a scheduled public event.
Gobbledygook. What?
Lids can be lifted. Lids can be changed. You know that. You've covered the White House.
Listen, folks.
What a word salad of bullshit.
This is worse. It's like he just got done fucking Kamala, right? And it rubbed off on him. I mean, what lids are lids,
Yeah.
you know, come on, you know, Martha. I mean, lids can be lifted, lids can be twisted, lids can be popped, lids can be screwed.
I love Venn diagrams.
I love Venn diagrams.
I really do. I love Venn diagrams. It's just something about those 3 circles and the analysis about where there is the intersection, right? Yeah, I see people that you agree with me, right?
Scheduled public event.
We'll finish this.
After the fact. Okay. But obviously, lids can be lifted, lids can be changed. You know that. You've covered the White House. I don't have any public events to speak to today. I can assure you, and I can assure the American people, that the president is staying up to date, has been throughout the extent of this crisis, and will continue to do so going forward. And again, part of his plan this afternoon is to get on the phone with foreign leaders and talk to them about what's going on in Israel.
Okay.
While the lid was popping, twisting, and flexing and sweating, he was at a barbecue where a live band was playing and people were celebrating. This guy has been on vacation now 384 fucking days out of his presidency. That's more than a year. His average workday, I'm not kidding. Are you ready? I'm not fucking kidding. 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. That is his average workday.
6 hours.
Well, he
6
probably
and a half
doesn't take a
hours.
lunch break.
That's a good point. Why? Because his food's all liquid and he drinks it.
Yeah, exactly.
This
Smoothies all day.
is the worst optics president we've ever had. Now, we can go into the numbers, we can go in, but optically, he is Bill Clinton fucking a woman on the Resolute desk and putting cigars in places that were never meant for cigars optically was better than Joe fucking Biden. A year and 2 some odd weeks of vacation. And guys and girls, that's not even consecutive days. If I put it in singular days or going for the weekend, this guy would be at a year and a half. Does Joe Biden stand a chance? And yes, everyone's like, well, Matt says I'm popping smoke 2 hours later. No, we came on at 8 o'clock. It's 2 hours and 15. We're running 15 minutes over. We're wrapping it up right now. Does he have a chance to win in 2024? Do you see it even possible that he wins? Amy, you go first.
Golly, that's a tough question. I don't know. I think no. My gut reaction is no. However, with this Israeli conflict or war, according to them now, we have Russia and Ukraine. We don't know what else is going to happen. I've heard about some things. I actually want to run by you guys off air. Some other things that could. I just heard some things that, from a reliable source at one of the alphabet agencies about China having involvement in something that could potentially affect the U.S. very soon. And that's really all I know. But it would dramatically affect us.
Does it start with Thai and end with Yuan?
That was part of it, but there was another moving piece to that, and it was somewhere in Africa, and I don't know where. Just heard somewhere in Africa.
Got it. Yeah, I was just going to ask if it was Africa. Like I told you guys, to watch Africa a year and a half ago and said it's going to be the hotbed for the next decade to 20 years. Go ahead.
That was it. So so if whatever that is comes to fruition, and that's really all I know. Yeah, I guess he could. I don't know. I would hope not. I'm hopeful he doesn't, but I could see it happening, I guess, you know?
Fair enough. Liv?
I think he does have a good shot to win unless the media wakes up and can actually be honest and truthful. And that half of America wakes up and realizes what a horrible president he is and the state of our country and what he's doing and what he's not doing. I mean, who plans a public outing, but because there's not a public outing planned, you're not going to speak to the country about 9 Americans dying in a foreign country? You have to have a public outing plan to be able to speak to the country. I just don't get it. It's sad, but with RFK in the race, I think it's a bigger chance he won't win, but the country needs to really wake up and see what's going on. And that's going to start with the media not being so biased.
Yeah, guy's nowhere during crisis. Right? He's nowhere to be found. You just can't find him. Look at Afghanistan. Look at Palestine, Ohio. Look at Maui. Guy was on vacation and come off vacation for Maui. What the fuck? If Donald Trump did that, you know what they'd say? He said he was burning Jews in Maui and the fire got out of control. That's what they would say. They would just have something horrible, terrible, because he's a Nazi, right? It's either books or, Jewish people. Because they would just make some grandiose story about. Right now, they're saying that Trump had a conversation with a billionaire about submarine nuclear secrets. Does that sound viable to you, Leroy? Do you really believe the POTUS knows anything about any of the technology involved in a nuclear submarine or a Seawolf or Los Angeles class submarine? No.
Man. I'll just add this too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Leroy.
No, I was just going to, do I think Biden has a chance at winning?
Yeah. Let's stick to the question.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
And I do. And here's how I would do it. If I were a power grabbing Democrat, I would focus on 5 things, right? I would focus on how can I pivot to make a war make me look good. I would continue to make sure that the media is trying to run as many headlines, positive spin headlines about the inflation and the economy, about job numbers and the rebound off of COVID. I would make sure that those headlines were being ran. I would continue to try and demonize any right-leaning states that are currently kind of looking to put more restrictions on abortion because that worked last time. And I would continue to make sure that the headlines are pushing every negative piece on Trump that they can in terms of his recent lawsuits. That's how I would do it.
And I would go ahead and broker peace between Ukraine and Russia just as a side ancillary benefit. And I would hold on to that till about 90 days before the election, or go ahead and make sure that we were involved in the first step, which is a major conflict, because either one of those things will get him the nomination. We know Biden sucks. Yeah. We're very well aware. People are pissed off. Oh, Biden sucks. He's horrible. Why would they vote? We know. But the problem is that
the country doesn't know that.
And you also got to find out about the legal, the optics, and you got to worry about Trump too. Can he get ahead of this legal stuff and still make an impact? Listen, he has to campaign. Trump's behind. I don't care what the polls say. There is a silent vote that doesn't want to admit as much in 2016 that they don't want to vote for Biden, and they're going to be quiet, but they care about abortion. It's an absolute fact. We learned this in 2020. We learned this in 2022. We're going to learn it in 2024. So we have to ensure that we are selling party platform. Once again, I ask anybody, what's the party platform? Educate me. I'll give you $10,000 if you tell me the current public party platform for the RNC and the GOP. What's the party platform? Nobody knows because there isn't one. There hasn't been one for almost 10 years. I don't know what it is to be a Republican anymore. It's certainly not limited government. It's certainly not taxation. It's certainly not family values. It's certainly not being a Christian. It's not the Constitution. It's not privacy. What is it? What the fuck is the RNC and the GOP anymore? Who are we? So that's where I would start. If I was Donald Trump, I'd be like, you know what? In between all my court cases, I'm going to sit down with the RNC chairman. I'm going to sit down with the GOP. We're going to have a closed door session. And we're going to invite some of the smartest minds of constitutional law and conservative politics. And we're going to write a party platform. And we are going to write the 10 things that make you a Republican. So every American can understand it. We're going to send out a card to every single registered Republican. A little card that you can put into your wallet that will tell you who we are and what we are about and what we stand for. And we want your opinion. And before we finalize and sign that card with America, we're going to make sure that we ask your opinion and you tell us what you think we've missed. You want Donald Trump to win the election? That's what you fucking do. Yeah. You make a contract like he was with Black America, and you make it with America, and you make it with Republicans, and you get people excited about being a conservative again, because I don't know what the fuck we are. Liv?
Yeah.
Did you answer the question?
Yeah, but what does your shirt say? Somebody wants to know.
It says play chess, not checkers. And it's got a bunch of chess pieces all around here.
Thank you.
Play chess, not checkers. It's available on the Don't Unfriend Me store at thedumbshow.com. It's not. Thedumbshow.com. Stop on by, get 10% off, and use code DUMB10. But go pick up some new stuff. I just added the ornament. I'm going to be adding some more hoodies and some more designs. Final minute. 30 seconds, Amy. 30 seconds, Leroy. 30 seconds, Olivia, and then we're done. Go, Amy.
Yeah, I'll just quickly kind of go off of this last topic too. I was in a large gathering this weekend, and a lot of Biden supporters. And it was very odd just for me because I knew I had to be on my good behavior. So I was just posing questions to a lot of people to see if I could get some information. And no one could answer me anything about why they truly hate Trump so much. Even when I was like, well, I'm not a huge fan of him either, but how come you think this about him or whatever? And no one could ever give me a direct answer, which I thought was really interesting. I think it's just a mentality at this point. And yeah. Until people can really truly form their own opinions and have a backbone essentially and have a cause they believe in or something they want to see done for our country, yeah, Biden could win. Anyway, that's my last 30 seconds.
I think it's awesome, courageous of you, and it's cool. And I don't know if I can have that conversation because I'm probably like, why are you fuckers going to vote for Biden? What the hell's wrong with you? It's very smart to ask about Trump and why don't you like him? And they're like, oh, because he told us all to drink bleach.
Orange.
No,
right. That was pretty much what I got. And it was odd, to say the least.
I will tell you, your voice finally matches the face. It sounds bright, and I can hear you. You should be very, very happy. Leroy, your 30 seconds.
To tail end on what Amy just said, there was a conversation I had a long time ago. I've said it multiple times on this show. The real challenge in having a republic is that requires an educated citizenry to work.
Yeah.
It requires us to get involved and to kind of try and divorce how we feel about a person, i.e. Orange Man bad, to kind of step away from that mentality and start looking at the actual policies that they support, the policies that they want to push forward, and how much a candidate is willing to say, oh, well, that Bill of Rights, maybe some of those aren't really so required. No, those are absolutely required. It's your job to protect them.
And if we can get to the Declaration.
Right. And if we can get to that point and get to that educated citizenry, I think we'd be in a good spot.
This is why the Founding Fathers didn't trust Americans. They didn't trust the government, and they didn't trust the citizen. And that's the thing. Our Founding Fathers were trepidatious about everybody and everything. They were some of the most paranoid sons of bitches ever. And this would make sense since Jefferson and Franklin both had their own hemp farms. They're paranoid sons of bitches. And they didn't trust government. They didn't trust the people. They didn't trust big banks. They didn't trust corporations. They didn't trust kings and queens. They didn't trust necessarily religion, organized religion. They were very trepidatious about everybody. And that is what we've lost, is a sense of hesitancy around accepting everything. Because if you accept everything as truth, then nothing is false. And if nothing is false, we have a problem. Deductive reasoning and logic have escaped us, and we've replaced it with supposition and derision. Those two are not foundational practices and thought process to make a successful society. It's one that makes a very dangerous, negative, and untrusting society. Remember the days when we just didn't trust the government? Now we don't trust each other. Livy, last 30 seconds. You look great tonight too, and your mic looks fantastic. Everybody's got the right mic now. I mean, right power, right sound. We'll get the new processor, but everyone sounds great. Liv?
First off, welcome back, Leroy. It's really good to have you.
Thank
I
you.
haven't seen Matt this giddy in a really long time.
Oh,
he's very
see, I knew I
excited
did
to have you
something
on
for him.
tonight.
Stop.
I knew I did something for him.
Exactly. That's how you felt.
Listen, I just think it's kind of like the tripod, but it's the quad pod. We need all four legs, and we complement each other very well. And there's not a lot of silence in the room with four of us because we all kind of feed off of each other. And I think it's very important. We were just getting to a spot when Leroy abandoned us and quit and left that we really were starting to produce some very high quality content. And you know what? We didn't miss a beat. In fact, I think we're better than we've ever. This is I don't always say this anymore. I used to say it. I think this is one of our best shows because it was real. It was genuine. Nobody was trying to talk over each other. We were trying to have a good time. Leroy almost loosened up and let some jokes happen while he was spewing. We're getting there. So
I also want to say, if you haven't already, please go over to YouTube and subscribe. You do not have to stay on the channel. Just subscribe, and then you never have to go back. But just get us to 1,000 subscribers.
And nobody called me narcissistic tonight, which is always nice.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Rumble. I do have a question from Rumble.
Okay.
It's for both Matt and Leroy. Why do most Jews vote for Democrats? And that can be your minute.
Leroy?
As best I can tell, and I'm shooting off the hip here, right? Like I actually don't know for sure, but there's a strong tradition from Jewish people that they always seem to have leaned a little bit left, and I always found that to be interesting, given the level of distrust that they should have of their own state.
Right.
But I think a long time ago, the argument could be made that Democrats were the party for the little guy, and they kind of aligned themselves with that and just never let it go, not realizing that that party from 50, 60, 70 years ago is not the party of today.
That's very, very good. Do you want the honest answer, or do you want me to give you the cupcake answer? So can Rumble
let's go cupcake. I'm hungry.
It's Kevin, so it's Kevin's question. He'll take the honest answer.
I'll just be honest with you. Republicans believe in Christ and Jews don't. There it is.
Oof.
I'm going to lie to you. And you can't call me an anti-Semite because my great-grandmother's Jewish, and I got a lot of Jewish blood in me. And I love, if I was going to be any religion, Judaism would be my choice. Just to let you know. If I was going to pick an organized religion, I'd be Jewish, hands down. And I love the Jewish people. I just, that's how we started out this whole fucking show. I love the Jewish, particularly Jewish women. Sorry, Liv, but
it's okay. I think Gal Gadot's hot too. So
I'd eat peanuts out of her shit. So now that
I wasn't going to go that far.
Good Lord.
Gross. It's a little too descriptive there, dear.
Just saying.
Oh my golly.
What's wrong with that?
Crackers in bed is a better description.
Fine. You know what? On my
Oh,
finger scale,
Jesus.
she's on my finger scale. She's 2 fingers. I cut 2 fingers off to fuck her. So, can we say that?
Vulgar?
It's not vulgar. It's a joke. Okay. So now, can I just answer the question?
Yes.
So ultimately, you mentioned Gal Gadot. That was not smart. It's your fault. So, I think it's not that the Jewish people don't trust Republicans and conservatives, but the truth of the matter is a lot of the money in the United States, Jewish people are responsible for, from banking to big Hollywood to talent agencies, production agencies, attorneys, and a lot of that society is derivative of academia and universities and colleges, which are predominantly progressive liberal. So you're seeing that coupled with the fact that Republicans believe in Christ and Jews don't. And there's a good reason why the Jews don't, because they were blamed for killing Christ. And there's a lot in there that creates a silent animosity or silent derision or maybe even silent guilt. And they understand that the Democrats are predominantly, the ones that do believe in religion are predominantly Catholic. A lot of Catholics in the Democrat religion, surprisingly enough, are in the Democrat Party when it comes to some of the higher ups. And if you look at most Democratic presidents, they are usually Catholic, if anything. And I think there's been acceptance that that party has been more accepting of the Jewish religion without judgment than Republicans. Because let's face it, 1980s, 90s, and 2000 Republicans were pretty fucking judgy. I mean, let's just be honest. Yeah. They were white, they middle-aged, rich people, and they were uppity around anyone who wasn't like them. So,
oh yeah, that was the first time I ever really heard the discussions where oh no, we don't like gay people and everything else. It was just like, oh my God, there was a really strong movement back then for anything that was not explicitly labeled in the Bible. Like the moment anything was even remotely progressive was brought up, they were like, no, can't have that.
Right. And people are saying, well, wait, the Jews that I know, that's not what was asked. We asked registered voters, and 7 out of 10 people who identify with the Jewish religion vote Democrat. That's 70%. That is a massive swing. Of course, Trump got along with Israel. Of course, Trump, but the Jews didn't necessarily vote for Trump in excess either. I'm just being transparent with you. This is a religious thing more than it is. And for people to say they lean right, no, they're moderates who lean left. And the person who asked is completely right. Jewish Americans predominantly vote with Democrats. Not true Catholic and Dems? Really? What was Kennedy?
He was Catholic.
What did Bill Clinton say he was?
I don't remember.
Catholic.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Barack Obama wasn't Catholic, but what's Joe Biden? Catholic. What was FDR?
I don't know if they're real, true Catholics.
It doesn't matter. They say they are, and that's what they that's my point. That's my point. Yeah. John F. Kennedy's the big one. So when people say it's not true, it is true. When you look at the most prolific president, vice presidents who are on the Democrat side, predominantly Catholic. That's all I'm saying. Catholics are moving away from the Dems. Okay, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, we're done. Because honestly, at this point, nobody's understanding. Their brain's jello, and they're assuming I'm saying something I'm not. Yeah, they all claim it, but they're not true Catholics. Yeah. And Joe
what are you saying,
Biden,
Matt?
I have a picture of Joe Biden with a yarmulke. Does that mean he's Jewish? No. He just put one on. Okay? Yeah. So he says that he's a Zionist, for God's sakes. These politicians, what I'm telling you is predominantly from that stage what they say they are and who they're curtailing to. Most predominant, large. Look at Nancy Pelosi, Catholic. Look at Schumer, Catholic. They say they're Catholic. They're not, but they say they are. That's my point. Okay. Good night, everybody. Leroy, Amy.
Wonder if
good night, everybody. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. We'll be back Wednesday night with a new live show, and we will have my morning show tomorrow morning. Hopefully, I can find something to talk about because it seems like we've done it all tonight. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. See ya.
Love you guys. It was good to see you.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon. Good to have you back, Leroy. I missed you, man. Missed you, man.
Peace. You, man.
See you, buddy.
Yeah. Hello.
All right. So somebody just said
really
that Catholics
sure
don't support child sacrifice.
I really don't have.
Once again, we're not talking about Catholics. We were talking about prestigious and predominantly high-profile figures. John F. Kennedy was a Catholic. Take a look at LBJ. Take a look at Carter. Take a look at Pelosi. Take a look at Schumer. Take a look at Biden. Take a look at Clinton. You can go down the list. And whether they are or not doesn't matter. What they say they are does. So when you have generational public figures such as politicians claiming that they're Catholic, and the Catholics were not necessarily as vocal in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s in regards to what their religion and politics mixed, and were probably a little bit more open and accepting, Jewish people naturally went ahead and moved towards Democrats. You also have in Florida, where a lot of Jewish people reside and retire, a very strong Democrat subculture that was very much present in Puerto Rican and Cuban people who would come into those areas and obviously would have an influence. You look at Broward and Dade County, these were very strong Democrat strongholds, which had a lot of people. So it's a generational thing. And I can't tell you why because not every single Jewish person votes Democrat, but 7 out of 10 do. So the question is, that's my opinion. I'm not saying that Catholics are all Democrats. People get so offended. They're like, I'm a Catholic, so therefore Democrats can't be Catholics. You're mixing apples and oranges. Political ideology and theocracy are not the same thing. In fact, they're not even the same sport. And there's no comparative contrast between the two. I don't know anybody that uses their religion to define their political party. Do you? I don't. Just because I believe in life doesn't mean that I choose my political party based upon that singularity. Mainly, people choose political parties based upon their values and their beliefs. And some of those are religious, but most of them aren't. I don't think anybody thinks religion is about taxes. I don't think anyone thinks religion is about small government. There's a lot of reasons why we choose to be a part of a party, and religion isn't most of it. Maybe when it comes to the right to life, but the right to bear arms certainly isn't a religious prerequisite. It's not something you have to have religion in order to believe. So my point is this, is that religion doesn't necessarily make up everything we're saying. And just because you're a Democrat and you're a Catholic, it doesn't mean you're any less faithful than a Republican being a Catholic. But if you want to look at the last 70 years of politics and religion and look at the most predominant Republicans and versus the most prominent Democrats, please tell me how many Republicans actually identify as being Catholic. The Bushes weren't Catholic. Ford wasn't Catholic. Nixon wasn't Catholic. Right? Okay, that's it. End of story. Enjoy it. Good night. Thanks for talking. See you tomorrow morning. Let me go. I want to go eat. Good night. Or maybe not, because the camera's not going to flip. And good night.
Yeah, hello. I'm really not sure if this is what you all do, but I really don't have anywhere else to turn.
Hi. I don't even know why I'm calling right now. I'm sorry. My thoughts are going a mile a minute.
My kids are out of state. My buddies from the army are all gone now. I'm really alone.
I left the service last year. My mom just passed away a few months ago. I miss so much time with her. I keep getting calls about the bills, and I'm trying to get a job, but I feel so stuck.
Okay, ma'am. I'm glad you called.
Okay, sir. Let's stay on the line and walk through some things.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.